Okay, we are live, and thank you for your patience. I am Khaliq Glover, also known as Khaliq-O-Vision, and we are starting our hangout today. Um, as you know, we've been doing these regularly several times a week, and I'm glad you're part of joining us and just hanging out with us. So I want to get going here today. Part of what I wanted to do was talk about we have the Pensado Awards coming up now. Finally, they're coming up, and I know a lot of you are anticipating this. It's going to be a great event. Finally, honoring a lot of people that have been grinding away in the back to make our music happen in this music industry. And so I'm so glad it's being done. I want to discuss some of the things they posted, a few things up here. The people that are going to be on naturally and who are nominated to receive some things. They also have. I guess they chose the winner of the Pensado Awards, the upcoming. I forget how they call it. It's the mixer for the upcoming I'll find the title when I go to the Indaba website, but it's basically upcoming mixers and everything. I think they for the New York City mix, they finally chose the one of the mixes out of the hundreds, if not thousands, that they received. And so I want to discuss that. We can see how it went. Maybe get some of your impressions. We all know it was a very challenging mix, so the person that got chose had to overcome a lot of obstacles. So my hat is off to them, and we ought to see what maybe they did that made them, you know, get chosen and stand out a little bit. Because these are things that can help you when you want to get chosen and stand out to do major label gigs and stuff like that. Let's see what caught their ear and some of the good things and maybe some other things that still can be looked at to dig even deeper. So I thought it'd be a great conversation to have today about some of that. Anyway, Dave, what's going on with you, man? And you doing all right today? And you down with that?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah, we got you.
Trying my
Sound good.
headset today. Yeah, I'm fine. I've just been super busy. Sorry I missed the last one.
Okay, no problem. I understand it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. The Pensado Awards coming up, and it's been a long time coming, but it's finally here, and a lot of people are going to get to come down and see it live. I don't know if after the awards, if they're going to have some kind of way that they're going to broadcast it or whatever, but
Mm.
it'd be really cool. I'm still, my schedule, just like yours, is kind of all over the place. So while I do want to attend, I'm going to do my best to see if I can shuffle a couple of things around. It may become a little difficult, so I'm trying to work that out now because I really think it's a wonderful thing Dave and Herb are doing to honor some people that may normally never get, recognition out there, and it's well deserved. Have you seen some of the nominees and everything up there, Dave, for some of the categories?
Yeah, I did. I took a look at it the other day, and then, I was really interested on the one we're going to go to today, the mixed stuff that, you had been doing the primers on. So I'm real interested to see who they chose.
Yeah, yeah. Well, according to the website, for what I saw when I went on there, just checking back periodically, and I saw it. Now I don't know if this is the actual true winner, but it did say winner, so I think it's a guy named Drumasonic Daniel. And Drumasonic Daniel, I believe, has got the final mix that they chose. And if that is the case, um, they got like five different people up here, but I think they made the
Hmm.
decision and then they're just going to give him the award at the event. So that's cool. Congratulations to Drumasonic Daniel and all the other people that got chosen for consideration. It's a big deal out of all the things that rise to the top. So part of what I'm going to do on today is maybe see what he did, and we can dig in and kind of examine some of the things that he did right to get noticed and stand out from that crowd, and then like I said, maybe some other things that everybody can think is like, well, okay, if there was more time and maybe we could have dug in a little bit deeper. Here's what else I think would help this song just keep notching up to the next level, because that's ultimately that's the best thing. And Let me mute some people here because I've got some background noise here. That isn't you, Dave, is it?
No, I just had to cut the volume on something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was,
Okay, cool, cool. All right, so yeah, I think that's cool. Joseph, I wanted to call on you too because unmute your mic for a second and let's talk
Great,
about
great.
this because you said you did download that project, but you didn't enter it, right? You didn't enter the competition.
Uh, no, I withdrew from the competition.
Right,
My wife, part of the stipulation was you had to be able to go there,
right.
and I had, I guess, a lot of confidence in myself, so I decided that I'd download it and give it a hit. And unfortunately, my wife, we found out that she got breast cancer, and her treatments for radiation started. It'll be a week Tuesday. So she's
Oh,
just had her first 4 radiation treatments, first surgery, and then now radiation. So
right.
in case my luck prevailed, and I actually took the title, I wanted to be able to fulfill that obligation. And I couldn't leave her behind. No way.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's going to be the subject of one of my next hangouts here is you know, I've been talking with a lot of people, and you and I even talked about it, and a couple other people I've talked about a big thing is remembering what's important out here. Remembering your why. I have my little signs that I always hold up and say, "What is your why?" And that's a big thing. You want to stay focused on what is important, why you got into this in the first place. And for most of us, the biggest thing that really kicked me out to the next level of as far as seriousness is once I had my daughter. It's like, okay, game time is over. Got to do it now because I got another human being that relies on me. My family. So my family was all important to me, and that was a big why to kick it in gear and quit messing around
Sure.
and go to the next level. And then now I have a granddaughter, so it just keeps reigniting. So remembering that, because everybody gets on it, and we all see. I mean, I see people getting on, like, say, for example, the Facebook group for Pensado students and some other places out in the general area. You can visit Gear Sluts and a few other these things and a lot of people just really get caught up in minutia, I call it, because it's stuff that isn't really important, and so it's very important that you bring yourself back. And anyway, I didn't want to go off on that because that's for another
That's all right.
discussion, and that's very, very important. But what I want to do today is, since we know the Pensado Awards is starting on Saturday, this coming Saturday now. So they chose a guy, Daniel, and I want to see if we can all put our heads together and see what made his thing stand out from the crowd. What are the good things he did, and what are some extra things that we think maybe could be added to it? Because, like I suggested to everybody, if you hadn't done it, you should have actually just downloaded it. Whether you were going to be in a competition or not, it was a great exercise for learning. It will really push the skills, and it will really expose your limitations. So that in itself is great. Drumasonic Daniel obviously was the majority winner to to overcome some of these obstacles. So that was a heck of a achievement to do
Yeah.
that out of the hundreds of things. So I would love to know, well, what did he do right in his process, and we can all talk about it and benefit from it. What's up, Matt? How you doing, man?
Like
I'm
last time, bro, recovering.
recovering. I got
Yeah,
you grinding away.
yeah. I'm in there working with an artist right now, trying to get her to understand rhythm and certain things about character and your voice. And I had to stop. I heard your buzz came through this time on the Hangout.
Uh
It actually came through the last time also, and
yeah, yeah.
so I had to run in here and set this up. But yeah, long night, bro.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Welcome to the big leagues, bro. Yeah, I started doing because at first I used to just put all the invitations in at one time and just send them all at one time. Now what I'm doing is just sending a couple at a time here and there, and that seems to get through better.
We had one of the things we've been having to do is bios. I had never even considered doing a bio because it was not a concern of mine. We simply do stuff and put it out to our customers, and so I don't think about going and getting a job from somebody, anything like that. And we've had to do it, and we found out that yeah, we need work on doing bios. I started reading some of our bios, and wow, it was childish, not on the right stuff. We were all over the place, and so I'm gonna sit down, and we're gonna have to go through all of this stuff. And I mean, bro, this is not where I planned on my brain being spent stuff. But our bios were garbage.
Oh my goodness.
The pictures that were chosen were garbage. The whole philosophy behind our bios.
Yeah.
But you don't know that until you start doing it. You go to do it, and then it's like, oh damn, we suck. Okay.
Well, see, and the thing is too, I mean, that's, it's basically, the whole thing, the whole package is called an EPK, an electronic press kit. That's what's representing you when you can't be there,
Right.
So it's very important that it's right and it's on point. It's concise, so it just lets people know what's up, and then they'll want to know further. If it's, like you said, all over the place, people are going to take pause and be like, oh, do I really want to call these people?
Yeah.
It's very important.
I didn't want to call us. I didn't want to call. It's like, are you?
Make sure it's truthful too.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
You don't want to start flavoring up so much that you kind of blur the line of reality.
Yep.
And then get called on it.
Basically.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
You could use a couple of big words and phrases to expand on what experience you may or may not have, and find yourself in a situation where you may get margin called and find out they go to what you don't have. So,
For those of y'all who don't know what margin call is, watch the movie Wall Street.
You got to put up or shut up. So don't say you can read music if you can't read music. Don't say you've done a string date if you ain't never done a string date. Don't say you understand something if you don't really understand it. Because what'll happen is you'll get somewhere and somebody will have some money for you in the form of work. And when you can't fulfill the obligation, you've negotiated yourself into a terrible position because you represented falsely something that you couldn't do.
Yep. And that spreads like wildfire when you can't do it. Yeah.
When I got out of the military, that's when my real world experience started when I got out of the military, and I did. They had me do a resume, and I got out of the military, and the guy was reading my resume, and I was an advanced electronics technician, like advanced, and with awards and all types of stuff. But when I went in and this guy was reading my resume, he dwindled it down to, oh, you know how to change a light bulb. And it threw me off. It really threw me off because the level that we worked at, when I walked in, there was no question. All my documents were there. It all stated the schooling and everything. But when I got out of the military and I walked in with this resume, I found out that people really BS their resumes, and so if you come in, whatever you come in with, they think it's, they knock it back quite a bit, and he really knocked me back.
Yeah.
He's like, I can change a light bulb.
And you got to remember too, your military resume is only good for military.
Yeah.
So civilians aren't familiar with terms or the importance of what you may or may not do. It doesn't mean anything. So inside the confines of the military, you probably are Einstein. When you step outside the military, you're stepping back to regular civilian life and civilian contractors that you don't know where they're at. You don't know what is of value to them. And that's
exactly what I read.
You got to understand the words that they even use are different. And when you guys are doing your bios, you need to do some bios for music, and you need to do some bios for entertainment in general. If you're
Okay.
gonna just do a bio for music, that's gonna be fine because it lets people know musically. But if anybody there is doing anything else outside of that, you have to broaden your scope if you're trying to represent all that you know and what you're worth. Because if you just aim for music, then that means every time that you win, it's going to be under the scenario of a song, or this, or that, and that's pretty limited if you know how to do a couple other things. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whereas entertainment is a bigger word. Entertainment includes music, but also has some other things in it. So you can do the bio, but do the bio with a focus on who might be looking at it and why would they be looking at it.
Okay.
For live, if you're trying to do it, you've got producers and writers and things like that. So you got to figure out how you want to represent that in the short form and the long form. You trying to sell yourself just to people who are doing songs, or you trying to sell yourself to people who are building content of all types? And again, to be able to deliver. Because just being able to write the songs or the format that you're doing doesn't mean when somebody puts you in front of an animation that you'll be able to support writing cues and in and outs, if you don't know what cues and in and outs are,
Yeah.
The thank you.
Yeah, get familiar with the terms.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. See, even the stuff Dave is saying right now, that was.
I know way too much information, right? That's what everybody says. He's got way too much information.
No, it just shows how ignorant I am about stuff. I'm telling you, when we went through these bios, I said, "Damn, we're ignorant." And as we gain more knowledge, and I know I'm not supposed to say stuff like "damn, we're ignorant," but truth is
Thank
truth.
you.
That
was my next thing I was about to type. Please don't say that out loud.
So that's gonna be in some song. Damn, I'm ignorant.
Yeah. Somebody gonna pull out a clip and sample it.
Yeah, I'd much rather see it in the song than have you broadcast it as part of a chat.
Well,
I'm ignorant.
Yeah.
Work with
too
me.
late. Somebody gonna grab that little clip. Damn, I'm ignorant. Damn, I'm ignorant.
Oh, that's mine. He's ignorant.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I've been getting one hell of an education diving off into this, and what I'm gonna do this afternoon is get online and look for bios. Now that you said entertainment, I look for entertainment bios, examples, and music bios.
And then I'll tell you something. This is my last piece of information. When you look at other people's bios, because this happened to me, somebody actually used parts of my bio in their bio, and I had to call them and go, "Damn, is this like a tribute site?"
Oh yeah, right.
Because look at other people's things for style and format, but don't use things word for word, because if it doesn't sound like you, it's not going to be you. But
That's the cut and paste.
Yes. Yes. So that's what day and age we're in. What day and age we're in. If somebody likes the way something is, they'll do it now, and if they get caught, they'll deal with the consequences later. They probably never knew I would be contacting them and going, "What the hell are you doing?" But that's what happens. But that's how everybody's learning now. So that's one of the things that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But all I would say is just make sure you take your time in developing it. When you look at things to see what other people are doing, you got to stand back and look at the whole thing. That way you can appreciate it and learn something from it. Do not graft over what they built for themselves and think it is going to work for you.
Yeah, it won't work.
That's not going to work. It'll end up making you stick out even worse.
Isn't it funny though that the internet age and everything is basically, because this is like us growing up in the hood and stuff like that. This is still really the digital form of smash and grab.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yep. I want it. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
And then the only regretful conversation you have is when people get caught. They regret getting caught. They don't regret doing it. They regret getting caught. And this is for anybody. This is for people that steal songs, people that mess up business situations. It's for anybody. They don't regret the act of choosing the wrong direction. They regret the physicality of being caught in the act.
Mm-hmm.
And That's kind of the crazy part. And then to top it all off, they still want to work with you after.
Yeah.
You know, that's that's the other part of our business that's kind of whack.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Angela, what's up? Welcome. Wanted to say hi to you.
Hi. Hi,
Hey.
everyone. Going good. Going good.
Your day going good and everything?
It is. It is. Just been kind of chilling with the kids today.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are you or anybody else? I see you on there too, Jason. You guys coming down here for the Pensado Awards, or will you be able to make it or not?
I don't know about Wednesday, supposedly. So.
Oh, okay.
We'll
Cool.
see.
Cool.
Because I'm not the one paying for my trip, so we'll see. If it happens,
okay.
it happens. But I'll be there next year for sure. So.
I hear you. Well, I think this is going to be ongoing. It's definitely long overdue. So
I'm bringing a whole team down there.
Yeah.
You guys are going to see people from my team that you haven't even met yet.
Oh, cool. Yeah. We're still trying to juggle schedule and things like that. But I'm definitely going to see if I can try to make it down. I definitely want to get there and. And just as good to see folks that you haven't had a chance to see in a while and see people get honored, like I said, behind the scenes, So I want to talk about that a bit as well, too. And Jason, do you have to leave or anything? Just pop on real quick and say what's... Oh, yeah, I think he did have to go. He said he'll be right back. He has a client on the phone. So, I wanted to talk a bit about the Pensado Awards and then more specifically, has anybody listened to the final song that they chose, and the final mix for New York City? Has anybody listened to that already? Okay, they have it on there, and it's from a guy named Drumasonic Daniel. He did his version of the mix, and it looks like they had the top five. They had Drumasonic Daniel, Arturo Gomez, Placencia, I guess that is, and Helly 667, Lance Cedars, or however you say the name, and I guess that's it, yeah. Okay, so that's only 4 I see here. On one runner up to Marius Andre. So, I think Drumasonic Daniel was picked as the winner when I went to the page to just try to see what was up. I saw winner next to his name, so and that would make sense that he would already know because, of course, you have to be there you have to be able to attend. So what I wanted to do basically is kind of play a little bit of his mix and then talk about what do you think he did to get there, And now here's the thing, guys, too. I want this to be a learning experience. This isn't about the Pensado Awards. This isn't about Drumasonic Daniel or the song or anything else specific. This is about future stuff for you. If you're listening, watching, and trying to learn, I want us to dig in and see what can be done to elevate the process. So it's not going to be about whether did he get it perfect, or did they make a mistake picking him? Why did they pick? I don't want any of that kind of conversation because to me, that's, what we were talking about earlier. And me and Dave were talking about people getting into minutia and talking about stuff that doesn't matter. This cat grabbed some people's ears, the top folks out here in the industry. So it doesn't matter what you think, I'm just saying that as a stark reality of not to offend anybody or anything like that, but this is the stark reality. We have to get over ourselves and think, well, I why did they pick them? I would have did better than that. I could have done better than that. All that doesn't matter. Let's learn from what this cat did to get to the top of the leaderboard and figure it out. So this is why I'm having you guys have this conversation with me. Now, the other order of business on this is I'm not going to play the whole song, first of all, because we've heard it a million times. But secondly, because I don't want sometimes Google gets funny when you play music through these Hangouts because, the thing is when you do a Hangout and it's an internal Hangout and it's just for the people, just for us that's inside, they don't have a problem with you playing YouTube videos and audios and stuff like that. But sometimes because it's going through YouTube and if it's not your specific content, sometimes they let it through, sometimes they block it. So what I'm finding that I do is the best thing is, because this is a teaching mechanism, I'll play part of it and then we discuss it rather than playing the whole thing. And then that way it's just, I'm just using it as fair use for teaching and nothing more. So not trying to use it as my content or anything like that. So with that understanding, and before I actually play it, go back to you guys for a second and ask anybody, based on what has been going on right now, what you know about the song, what you know about the people having entered, and anything. What's the biggest takeaway from this whole exercise of dealing with this song for the awards? What do you expect to be able to do after this Pensado Awards is over? How are you going to be elevated in your life and in your thought process about mixing? Anybody want to chime in on that? No, everybody's being shy.
No, I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Uh,
Joe.
One of the things that was offered was for a gift of money or a donation. You
Mm-hmm.
were able to get a co-producer's badge of some sort that you're allowed to use on your website and your social media, digitally, whatever. That is something that I did. I've never had any type of digital presence at all.
Mm-hmm.
It just was part of my plan. I didn't need it. I gave away the first 2 full years of our brick and mortar studio time away for free,
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of a free, but we owned the content. So it was all kind of a lottery. If we got somebody in that really was great, they could sign here. We'd record everything. We'd produce. We'd do whatever we needed to. But then we pretty much owned the material.
Right,
Now
right.
that kind of might seem like a bad thing, but not really when you have folks that could never, ever, ever i- afford 10 minutes in a studio, let alone a full day.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm taking on, I mean, after 9 years, I've decided that social presence is going to be necessary. I thought that that badge might hold some weight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but that was my thought. The Secondly, what I'm really anxious for is the directions were specific. Don't do anything other than manipulate what's in front of you.
Right.
These are the tracks you've been given. I have a tendency to read the black. In other words, I don't read between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I read the black and I can follow directions. When I work with clients, that's pretty much how I like to work.
Yeah.
Okay, except you anticipate their needs and things like that. That's a little different. But the directions, I'm really anxious to see how much they allowed in terms of samples or any kind of other, how far that manipulation of what's in front of you that they provided, where you're allowed to go. Is
Yeah.
I'm very new to something like a contest, and I've been surprised before,
Yeah.
and I'm really curious about this.
Now, from
Uh,
what I can tell from the stuff I've listened to, everybody, and they seems like they stuck to it pretty
yeah,
rigidly. Nobody was able to come in and use sample replacement and
sure.
replay and redo the parts. They simply had to follow the rules, and
Hmm.
I think that was best because it's a level playing field. Then
Sure.
everybody has the same challenges, same limitations, and you
Hmm.
have to overcome them within what's in front of you, because it's real easy to
Yeah.
replace samples and all that now. But back in the day, for example, we didn't have the options we have now. So I think
Hmm.
that's what they're trying to figure out. If you want to get to what real engineering is, it's like if we strip away all the little extra stuff we got, where does your skill level lie to make this that's in front of you sound good and competitive,
I kept a timesheet on that mix, and it's amazing that it actually took me 70 hours to edit, and 3 hours to mix it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it worked out for me. In other words, breaths and S's and all, just so much, and trying to manipulate that, 3 tracks to create toms, and it was very it really forced me to think hard on how to get what I thought would be a really clear and compelling mix without changing anything,
Mm-hmm.
without adding anything, without breaking the rules, in other words.
Yeah.
That wasn't all at once either, those hours. That was over a 12-day period. Mostly after the day job, after mixing other people's stuff, you fit that stuff in.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think hopefully I don't have a typo there, but it's youtube.com/user/Khaliq-O-Vision is my YouTube channel. For some reason my browser's acting up and it won't let me copy the link directly in. So if anybody's watching this and you want to, the other thing is the registration link, even though I know you're registered, Angela, on my list, if you just go to that registration link and paste your email in there, it should take you directly to it. You shouldn't have to go through a whole big process. It should give you the link to join the webinar, because I think you're already on my notify list. And so that's probably the better way, is to go to the thing. And in fact, everybody, I posted on the side the link to join us inside here, and also the link for people to register for this Hangout. So if anybody wants to copy and paste all that and send it out to anybody you think that might want to listen with us and all that, feel free and go ahead and do it. And I wanted to ask you, man, because what do you think, like after these awards and everything, and you're taking your whole crew down there, what do you look to get out of, the Pensado Awards, and also tied in with what we've been doing here to elevate you and your crew? What do you?
Well, as far as this mix, again, Dre DeMos was mixing it, not me. I was doing other stuff, but I kept being called in to check it out, see what he was doing, see why he was doing, how it made me felt, and I had a hard time connecting with the mix. I had a hard time being in the singer's, like getting in the singer's space, and to where I would feel what she would feel at each moment. I couldn't relate. It meant nothing to me, and so what I learned was, if I'm going to be going in producing or dealing with somebody who does songs totally different than what I'm doing, I've got to figure out a way. I've got to come up with methods that make it to where I can effectively get into what's supposed to be done. Like if it's something about New York streets and happiness, and I'm from the hood and all there is gang violence, I have to figure out a way to switch and get into that person's shoes and get the job done. And so that was my reality check. Is I thought I was actually pretty good at it till try to sit and was a white woman into a white woman's shoes as a black man from the hood.
Yeah.
Like kind of hard, And I'm not gonna put on heels to do it,
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like I had to get into that. It really was messing me up. I could not feel it, and it's like you have to say this is a legit feeling. That person and what they're doing is legit. Like if somebody's crying about something that you feel that they shouldn't be crying about, that person is having a real experience and it's legitimate. But I just couldn't feel it, couldn't get into it, and I have to. So that was one thing that I learned, so that when I go somewhere, I'm not slapped in the face with that reality when money's on the line. So
yeah,
it's for me to improve.
Good for you, man. That's a great point.
I'm glad you learned that. When money's on the line, sometimes you have to leave the hood experience in a shelf, because it becomes quickly irrelevant. Okay? All the world is not the hood.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
We all can reference the hood, but unless there's a 360-degree way to make the parallel resource like you can all over the world, the hood becomes irrelevant really quick. Because sometimes somebody will want to tap something that you do, and it has nothing to do with the hood. They might like something else. They might like a piece of lyric piece of song, and if the only thing you're seeing is that you want to be hard all the time to prove some shit, there ain't a line at the bank for proving shit. There ain't a line at it becomes totally irrelevant. So your hardness is alone with no way to work.
Right.
So you gotta really put that in a place where you can use it. The hood is a valuable experience for all of us who have it. For those of us who have progressed past it, it's something that we use tactically as a motivating tool, as whatever you want to use it for. But it's not necessary all the time, especially when you want to take your skills and park it at trying to be of use to somebody.
Mm-hmm. And conversely, too, here's the other thing. So I commend you for learning that lesson. That's a big lesson that some people never learn, because conversely, you've got to be able, there's a lot of people that may come the reverse way, too. So to say, for example, you've got somebody that's straight from the ultra rich suburban life, and you ever see the movie Malibu's Most Wanted?
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah. So if somebody like that comes up as well, you may have to come in from the verse angle and call upon what you know about that to bring somebody like that as well, and project it onto them to make it a valuable experience as well. So you just got to go there for whatever it takes. When I was working for Kenny Rogers, I won't say I hated country music, but it just totally didn't affect me at all. I had no desire to listen to it, no desire at all. It was like one of my least favorite things to check out, except for maybe a couple of things that stood out over time, But other than that, I never would have listened to country music until I worked at Lion's Share for Kenny Rogers. And then I was like, okay, I'm in the middle of this. I better learn something about this. And so once I went there, I found out, wow, there's some serious stuff in here. Wow, check out them lyrics. Wow, check out these musicians, that musicianship. Man, these cats are spot on. I thought this was some real simplistic stuff, but look at what they're doing at a micro level. It started blowing me away, all the stuff that I didn't know about it. So once I opened myself and let it in and just went there and said, let me experience what it is, because why is it such a, it's not just an American phenomenon. It's one of the biggest worldwide music phenomenons out there, So why is it touching people? And then the other part that I had to ask myself is, how come I don't get it? When I was coming up early on, when I was young, I started out listening to funk. That's where I started, and I loved funk and, rhythm and blues. R&B and funk was the main thing. Jazz was just a little bit. I didn't understand it. I was so young, I wasn't sophisticated enough to appreciate it. And blues, I didn't like at all when I was young, because I didn't understand. I didn't understand that everything sprung from that until I started educating myself and getting in there and giving it a chance. Then when I started getting into guitar and listening to a guy like Robert Johnson with just his little one gut string guitar and himself and singing and all that, and all this is coming out of one guy sounding like a whole bunch of instruments at one time. This cat, slavery people doing stuff that was amazing, musicianship that was on a level that I don't even hear people doing to this day, being studied and everything. And it's like, okay, if you let yourself in, you just go there. So this New York City thing, when we were talking about it previously, and then we were all tossing it back about, well, one of the things was, well, you can tell this person ain't from New York City. This ain't authentic. They would never be there. But the other part that I like when we had the discussion and just kept talking about it is like, well, it doesn't matter whether they're there or not, because this is a universal thing they're talking about. New York City just happens to be the setting. But digging in deeper, these are just some kids talking about a springtime lover's fling. They're going out, hanging out and everything. So everybody can relate to that. Even us from the hood. There's times we went out and hung in the hood in the springtime, running around. You run across, a girl if you're a guy, or a guy if you're a girl, or other if you're other, so you know what I'm saying. It's like, yeah. I'm just commending you, I guess, to make a long story short. I'm commending you for opening yourself up. That's a huge lesson for you. I know it's a big lesson for you in particular, but in general, for a lot of people, if they take that in, that's what will lead you to longevity.
And see, I thought I had it, because crying is crying. A sad moment is a sad moment. So like when you guys would say, get into the emotion of such and such, whether it's a person from New York or California or Bangladesh, sadness is sadness, right? And so I thought I had it, because sadness is sadness. But then there's nuances. You said, like you said something about minutia or something, or to each, like even in a family, you'll sit there, like you could sit there with your daughter, and there's little things that she would do that I wouldn't catch that you would. And so when you get off into country music, there's nuances in country music once you get into it that you start picking up, and like you said, it's like, ooh, hold on now, because you start hearing the nuances. And I just couldn't, even my ego, if I were to try to get into, because I would try to get into the character of a woman, but there's only so far I could go. My ego, this guy working with Anna Rams and some of our female artists, when he was doing the makeup, we had all these guys taking pictures, and none of us, this guy started crawling on the floor and teaching the women how to crawl on the floor as a woman. I couldn't do that. I saw limitations in myself because of my ego and whatever. And, I was high-fiving the dude, like, dude, you slayed me. I'm sorry, But my ego would not allow me to go but so far. And that I was sitting there facing the reality of, this guy just slayed me. We had a job to get done, and I couldn't get it done because I couldn't get into the girl of me, which he obviously did and did well. And so even without getting paid, this dude gets to come back now anytime and work with us. He got paid for the makeup stuff, but not for what he did extra, which he should have. This dude was awesome. But I'm telling you, the little stuff that he was able to get into, because he opened himself up to it, allowed him to do way more than what I could. And those little things count. Like if I crawl on the ground as a woman, it's not gonna look good. It ain't even gonna be close to what it did.
Well, it's just the understanding though, and what's interesting is this is why I like actors. This is why somebody like, say for example, Jamie Foxx. He covers it all, because he's going to that place, So Jamie Foxx can go inside of Wanda as a comedian, and then go inside of Ray Charles as an actor and as a musician, and a guy like that. Like when we was in the studio, man, I swear it was one of the most impactful nights that I remember, because he went through all these things. So when you see him on TV and on all these other things, this cat goes in and out of stuff so quick, and it's just naturally him, because he just goes there. And I'm like, how do you do that? And then he can be real funny. He's not trying to be funny, but his mind is just seeing some stuff and creating movies and everything. So it's like when you can become an actor and all of that, like when I'm listening to music, I try to go there and be the actor. So it's like last night I was watching, there was a thing on forget which, I think it was on TV One or one of those, because this is a Black Music Month. They had a thing on Aretha Franklin. Now, for those of you who are younger, because time is getting older now, we're getting older. Some people are losing who our icons are. There's actually younger people coming up that don't know. You can say Aretha Franklin and they don't know who you're talking about. But she changed so many things that I forgot when I was coming up and didn't even know. She literally. She did things that nobody in history and of the world has done, and including even some of the newer people that come out. And I appreciated that so much watching that. I think it's called Strictly. I can't. Frankly speaking, I think it was something like that. But but anyway, if you get a chance to see that special on Aretha, check it out, because the thing is that it made me go to with her was when she started out singing, and when she first started out singing in the church, of C.O. Franklin, her father's church and everything, and they panned through the audience back in the day, this young girl, from well, she's been singing all her life, but she really was affecting people from like 12, 13, 14 and all that. and you see people with, they're just watching her mesmerized. Whatever she's singing about, just capturing people, old people, young people, everybody in between. That's the thing. And then when they showed her face as her singing, it's like, oh, she's there. And so everybody else was there. And it didn't matter what she was singing. At the time when she was singing gospel and singing Precious Lord, that was an amazing thing. But then when she'll go over and just sing I Never Loved a Man for her secular thing, her big hit, and you just see how she sings. And then people who couldn't even see her, but you hear her, you feel it. Everybody was singing Respect. The song Respect is a classic song. Most people have totally forgotten that song was Otis Redding's song first. Everybody thinks about Aretha. She just took it over and made you and the world and everybody else feel that song. And Otis Redding, who is a legend in his own right, he's written out a history on that song. It's his song. It started with him. So that is such an amazing thing to me. And when we can understand what we need to do to get to that place and stay there, especially when we're representing other people, that is the key, bro. And you're on the right path for opening and broadening your horizons for your understanding on that, and all that stuff comes from the thing of being from the hood, but not necessarily be of the hood. You can be from it, but you don't have to carry it everywhere you go on your shoulder. I'm the hood.
Right. Now that Otis Redding, see, now that's going to have to be a lesson for us today. I'm going to have to go look that song up and have everybody here compare the two, because that's right in line with what we're doing with my artist in there now. I'm working on her emotions big time, like getting her to be in the character.
Yeah.
But you also asked about what we're going to get out of the awards. A lot of my, like when I do this traveling and stuff, my team has not met guys like you. And so I'm bringing, like, remember, we have a bunch of females who are artists. When you have parties like this, like the second part is going to be a dance, a party. Well, I'm bringing women to dance with people.
Exactly.
Yeah, get them. Tell my artists, get them. If you see somebody standing on the wall, pull them out there on the dance floor. If you standing on that wall, over there, you're standing on that wall. Some of these artists, they know who you are. They're gonna come grab you. And they're gonna be pulling people out onto the dance floor. But they simply being around industry people, seeing what's up, and then realizing that they don't just represent themselves, that they represent me, the company, all of that. Like Dave Hampton had said something back in the day about who's standing next to you. It really matters. And so all of us, we have this thing where I'm beating everybody up about stepping their game up, and if you're going to stand next to me and I'm going to stand next to you guys, it's like we have to be worthy and we have to take ourselves serious. So they're coming here. It's one big group of people. The more you have, the more opportunity you have of somebody misrepresenting you. So we've got a whole bunch of people who could. I have, let's see, 8 female artists. Then we've got the Lab Rats, which was 4 guys. We got a video crew. We've got quite a few people, that come in and mess up. They look bad. But yeah, like I said, but the females' job when they get there, as far as the club that night, is if anybody's not dancing, damn it, grab them, pull them out on the dance floor, and dance with them. So if you catch y'all standing up against the wall, Dave, Khaliq, whoever, anybody with a Pensado badge, anybody, these females are going to be grabbing them and pulling them out on the dance floor and dancing, just having some fun.
Having fun, yeah. You gotta do it, man. Gotta do it.
Wait, but that has nothing to do with me learning anything, though, right? You asked about
Well, that's all right. That sounded like a better conversation.
Man, I wish I could. I had my ticket and had my book, everything booked, but I had to cancel. Man, I'm not gonna be able to make it. But now I'm like, I wish I could have gone.
How come you can't make it, Jason?
There's some scheduling things, financial things, and one, my daughter's birthday is actually on that Saturday.
Oh, yeah, you got to deal with that's what's important. That's what's
the plan was to bring them all out to LA with me and just have my Saturday, you know, I just had the one ticket that I was just gonna, you know, just hang out with the Pensados at the award show, and then maybe stay until like Wednesday and you know do stuff like that. But you know, bringing all three of everybody out here is just right now. Whew.
That's a big one. I understand. Yep.
Now,
That's cool.
hey, real quick, Khaliq, Dave
Yeah.
is the word female. Like I'll say words like females, and Dave will tell me, bruh, women, the, okay. Hey, wait, Dave, are you there? Oh, he left.
Well,
I wanted him
yeah,
to.
he's
No,
probably floating around. Yeah.
I'm here. Go ahead. I didn't want to stop your flow.
Hit me up, beat me up on the females and women thing, because I'll say females.
I'm not beating you up. I'm just saying the same thing.
I'm
just
telling
saying
you,
the same thing I've asked you before, is that culturally you're using a term that is not cool. It's like, what if all the women just said, "Oh, these dudes." Okay. So what you do when you frame the language is you already sexualize the relationship. You already put it in this thing where you got their role assigned. So you come off sounding more not like somebody who's thinking global, but somebody who's thinking local. Is that a good way to put it? I'm trying to be nice because we're on the internet. But I see.
I hate that nice stuff, man.
I see Joseph shaking his head.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's
shaking
right.
his head. So I'm not saying anything that's out of line. I'm trying to give you something that's going to help you.
Yeah. Now, see, at home,
major market city and use terms that colloquially offend. You're about to go to Santa Monica, California. You know, there's a lot of progressive women in business in Santa Monica and in the record and entertainment business. You cannot use stratifying language and hope to get a global access pass unless you are just going to stick to one kind of format. Is that a good way to put it?
Yes. My problem with it.
So if you're going to take the stance where your whole thing is going to come from debasing or automatically putting women in this category, you're either 1, 2, or 3, and there's nothing wrong with anybody coming to an event dancing. There's nothing wrong with that. But just the term female, that's why I tried to say that to you early on. Get it out your system. Just like you get the hood out your system, you need to leave that at home.
I can't.
Because you will come across somebody who has juice, and they won't want to have a thing to do with you no matter how good your beats, breaks, and scratches and your raps are. They won't want to have anything to do with you because your language is offensive.
But
and
see, Dave,
I was understanding the level of offense, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay,
because
so that's all I'm saying.
I would have to sit here and watch.
Hold on, Joseph's nodding his head. So since I don't want you to think it's just me, Joseph, I want you to chime in and tell me from your perspective why you're amening what I'm saying.
I guess I consider myself a little bit of a chameleon. You know, I've been self-employed my whole life. You know, I got out of the government work and became an engineer, a robotic engineer. That lasted about 2 years. I couldn't take it. I needed to be on my own. And it was just, that's how I was raised. My dad was self-employed. And that taught me a lot. Because, I didn't have one boss. I had as many bosses as I had customers for that year. If I have 500 customers, I have 500 bosses. And then their mate was my sub boss. You know what I mean? So I really learned how to, I don't want to say misrepresent myself in any way, but not always represent myself at all. In other words, be what was around me. Just kind of meld in a little bit and pay attention. And sometimes, like at home, I call my wife, Deanna, I say, yo, woman, rattle some pots and pans, get some shit moving. But I would never say that in public to her because if I don't know who's listening. And I am self-employed, and I know that I'm always a banner for my company. There's no bumper stickers on my car. None of my employees can have bumper stickers on their car because we don't affiliate or mention, race, religion, politicians, stuff like that, because it's just not a part of who I am. It's just not. And I don't care where my employees grew up from. I don't give a shit. When they walk into my building, they're green. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
And they need to be worldly.
Yeah, and I think at a base level, real women don't like to be called females. When you step outside of where you're at, you're going to run into some real women.
They're ladies.
They're ladies, and so you gotta understand, it all starts with the syntax. You use the wrong syntax, you're gonna be digging your way out, because you and this is something that you're gonna have to deal with. This is part of that thing where you hold on to those habits, and that's part of holding on to the hood. And I understand where you're coming from. It doesn't make anybody better or worse. I'm giving you tips, brother. Okay, I'm giving you tips. You can take the tip and use it, or you can take the tip and not use it. I suggest you use it because you need to look at the demographics of who's going to be your boss in these situations, because the law of averages said that your boss 8 out of 10 times in the next 5 years is going to be a woman. No matter what you say, if you want to go big time and sell some tracks, you're going to run into a record exec who's going to be a woman. Okay? And so you need to have a rap that is respectful of her position, because she's signing that check. Unless you're so bad that you printing money. You printing money?
Not yet.
Okay, well, until you printing money, you need to take my tips seriously, because it's not just about the local thing. It will help you in the local scene, and it'll help you there as well, because that way everybody has a higher expectation all the way around. When you step outside the local scene as a group, people won't look at you as, oh, where are they from? Because you're using these terms that aren't used. You trust me, man, you're going to encounter some zealots. And if you think I'm bad, you say that in the wrong company in Los Angeles. And I'm just trying to help you, man. I'm just trying to help you, man. The same way I say, don't say on the camera, I'm not good at this, or don't say those things. Think about it. Think about it. When you open your mouth, your brain's on display. So you got one chance to kind of convince people what's going on. So it's real important that, whenever we see or hear these things, just speak to them, because it helps make everybody better when they got to conduct business. Because that's what this is about. Eventually, these things that we do, they turn into somebody needing services. But if they don't know that you're cool, and if somebody else doesn't know that you're cool, and they hear one thing that's off in your diction, and they go, man, this cat uses this term, I wonder what his impression is of women. Now, this is just somebody else. This isn't us. I'm just telling you. There's a bunch of people. You see how many people these phone calls touch. When you step outside of here, that's who you really touch. No matter what the group is doing, no matter how many followers they got, 10 zillion to 10 billion, the minute you show up and you have yourself 3D live in front of somebody, that's your chance.
Hey, let me chime in for a second on this too, because hey, Ma, think about it like this too, because it's little stuff. It's little subtle stuff that makes a huge difference. A little subtle thing, like when you hang around somebody and they may be pretty cool and everything, but suddenly they say, you people, they don't really mean nothing bad, because it's just kind of a habit, what they do, or them, yeah, that's what y'all do, things like that. You might not even say nothing to that person or even confront them on it, but right away, when something like that, it seems like a little insignificant thing to them, and they may not have even meant anything antagonistic by it, but their habits of what they got ingrained made them think it was okay to say something little like that. I mean, a perfect example, because it says that, because what it does is it makes people say, well, wait a minute, what else is behind that? So somebody like, say, let's take an extreme example and say Donald Sterling. He thought it was okay to be saying all that stuff to that girl who was part black, our parents and all that, things like that. But he thought it was cool to say that. Started pulling back some other stuff that was going on with him. Was okay. We see now what's really at the core of this person, and that's what you got to be careful when something as simple as saying, female versus woman or women, you know, it's a little thing, and in certain company it can become a big deal because it can make people think that you're misogynistic, you know. They just take on the subliminal thing in their mind that, wait a minute, you know, they may never confront you, you'll never know it, but little stuff like that will make them think, you know, you're misogynistic. And so right away they're going to say, oh, this cat got, you know, he got a dominance problem with women, and especially if this is somebody trying to come and break through and show that I am equal. This is where the world is at. Women are running a lot of stuff now. So the bottom line is if, you know, a lot of women will go on a mission to prove that, oh, wait a minute, I'm just as good as you. So don't treat me like that, you know, because, you know, you're calling me something like this, and, you know, you may not even know it, but it's kind of diminishing me a bit, you know, trying to push me a little bit under you. Things are a lot more even now, you know. Women have way more strength in certain areas than we have, and then we have way more strength in certain areas than they have. So this is why God knew it was the plan to put us both together, and we're going to be the best together. But part of that is languaging patterns too, you know. So languaging patterns are a big deal, you know. So that's why I think Dave points out little stuff like that, because this is stuff that we learned over the course of years when somebody pulled our coat and said, wait a minute, man, because here's how somebody else might receive that.
Right. And like I said, when somebody pointed it out to me, it was a woman from another country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So and the other part of that is you're about to go to an event next week where the majority of the people at the event are going to be men. I'm not even there. I'm just going to tell you right now, the majority of people are going to be men. So the women that you do have there are going to be extremely qualified in all their areas to be there. So none of them are going to appreciate anything less than what they worked hard for, which is consideration. You know.
Yeah. One other thing, I don't mean to keep on like bashing you, not, but the part of the conversation I heard when you said, "Hey, I'm going to have all these females there," just thinking of, I know what you meant, right? But if my wife was in the room. If my wife was in the room and heard that conversation, she would have probably, and I was going by myself, she would have been like, look. And you know, somewhere in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, he got to have females there. And his thing is to have them dance with everybody who's standing up against the wall. Because me personally, I'm a wall hugger, right? So just the way the conversation went, it was like, all right, he going to have females there. I'm going to stay away from them.
Yeah. That's a good point, because I kind of thought that same thing too, Jason.
Yeah, I don't know, you know, and that, you know, the term was the same thing. Like, I know they're not like that, but LA females, and just think of studio language when you're in a studio. Oh, we're gonna bring some females into the room.
Yeah.
Right,
they're there for a mission. Here we go. Yeah. So
I understand that.
That's
Jason,
objectifying them too. Really objectifying.
Yeah. Real quick, Khaliq and Dave, when you guys say stuff to me, I don't immediately change a lot of times. But if you think for 1 second that I don't take what you guys say serious, oh no, you're kidding yourselves. And nobody ever, you guys never have to say, hey, so-and-so saying it too. I couldn't care less about somebody else saying it. I value you guys, what you say, enough to where even if the President of the United States says something opposite, I've opened myself up to you guys for exactly what you're doing. Now, the way Jason just said it, I can understand that. Mm-hmm. But what I'm afraid of doing, or what I know I don't want to do as a person, is walk around trying to be PC, politically correct, and watch everything that I do and say, because my experience from the hood is also valid, and if I have to walk into every place and get rid of everything and whitewash, as I would call it, whitewash myself and female wash myself to where I stop being me, period, I have a real problem with that. I would rather, me as a person, I would rather just say to hell with it and act a fool and be me and try to have success at whatever level I can being me. So there's a balance thing for me there.
You said the right word right there, Maad, though. That really is the key. I think see what Dave was passing on, what I'm passing on, and some you'll see some of the older people say some of these things is, and the key is, and you're actually starting to do it now. Don't change who you are. You just have to modify and grow. See the missing part of that equation of what you were setting up, because like Jason was saying, we understand what you meant by it and everything, but the broader scope of getting the broader vision and the part that is missing from that equation that you have to put it in. If you want to go there and do that and everything, it's all good. But the part of the equation that you got to make sure that you don't forget about is read the room. Because that whole thing may have to change completely.
Here, I came to visit Dave. Sorry to interrupt here.
What's up? Oh, okay. We got a perfect person.
Yeah, so I came in
right in the car that day.
Hey.
Yeah, chime in. We got an expert here.
Okay, so I came in right when you were talking about you gonna bring some females. That to me is code for you bring some hoes. Like, don't ever call me a female. I'm a woman. I don't, and femalize yourself. Like, it's like respect. It's like you have no respect. When a man says talking the way you are about women, it's like, to me, there's like, oh, he's sexist.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you think you're not or not. A woman, when a woman hears stuff like that, we think he's sexist. Period.
Okay.
He won't give me the same opportunities he thinks that he should give men. He doesn't see me as someone respectful. He sees me as the female species of human. Dude.
Now, if I would have said bring women, I'm bringing women, that would have made it better?
Yeah. To say, I'm going to bring some women to make sure that the party environment is equal, is balanced. I'm going to bring some women who like music, and because then it sounded like when you say I'm bringing females and then you said they're artists, so you're saying that they're singers or they're some kind of artists, but you're calling them females? Like, what have they signed over to you?
See, I'm not, for me and where I'm coming from, female, the connotation, the feelings that you're getting from that word, not even close to the same.
Guess why? Because I'm a woman.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. That's my point. You're gonna meet people who are outside of your social context, right? So everybody around you is used to you being you. You can't put you on everybody full bore.
And how are you gonna just continue certain things, and it like you have no idea about the history of men and women in this universe, and you're gonna just like look at it like it's just the way you talk, or you don't want to be PC. Everything about the world and society is anti-woman. Everything about this whole society, the world is about keeping women down. The same way it is about keeping black people down. Yeah. So the way that you say that you don't want to, figure out how to put women into your vocabulary, it's like, it's so disrespectful.
Okay, I do have a knowledge about the women issues in America, period. Now, the women and the female word, when we start going to where everywhere I go, I have to start watching everything I say. It starts getting ridiculous to me, because I know that what I mean when I say females, and it has to come back and forth. It has to be a,
do you ever say women?
Hold on. I'm going to let you speak, but you also have to let me speak as you get emotional. When I make a statement and I try to get something across, you also have to try to receive what I'm saying instead of simply, oh, female, and get mad.
Dude,
it goes both ways, because I would mean nothing by it.
When do you say women and when do you say female? I'd love to know.
It makes no difference. For me, it makes no difference. For me personally.
No difference.
For me, it makes no difference.
That's the lesson point, though, is that it does make a difference. Do you understand that she's saying that regardless of what your intention is, you see how it was received? And that can be, you've got one person in the room that was sitting back listening to how the conversation was developing and everything, and she felt that she had to let you know, the dude, regardless of what your intention is, you got to get out of you and see how it's arriving at somebody else. Because things you think are totally cool may not be arriving that way. And it's not about you having to change who you are. It's a growth thing. It's just a growth thing in you that I understand your intention is you want people to have fun, you know. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I said, cutting to the chase is like, you want people to have fun. You're going to go to the awards and then it kind of serves you to be the guy that brings it and make people have fun. Whether that's right or wrong or anything like that, I'm not going to get into that. But I understand that you had a purpose for doing that. But like you said, when you said it, and then Jason picked up on it too, it's like when you said, Khaliq, if you're standing up on the wall, I'm going to have some females grab you and all that. Well, I went right there in my mind because, you know, I have my lady here in the other room and everything. I ain't going to just be letting some women come in here and just snatching on me or whatever, because if I'm standing on the wall, that's what I want to do, you know, and stand back and everything.
Can I ask a
So
question?
it has to be
Can I ask a
right, you
question
know.
to the men? Let me ask you a question, men. Do you like being called boy? If a grown man calls you, hey, boy.
Exactly, that don't work.
Like that?
Only but person can call me is that's my boy. Even when it's like me and Dave talk and say, "Yo, yeah, Dave's my boy," because it's a different connotation. You know, when you call somebody a boy and you're talking about somebody that's not grown up, not sophisticated, under, less than. That's what I was trying to put to you, Maat, is that you're being misogynistic because it can be taken as misogynistic because it's like pushing somebody down, like they're less than. And nobody wants to feel that, you know, male or female.
That I would do
when you say those two words.
And that's not even close to something that I would do.
I know it wasn't. Yeah, as I said, we know you, so we know that wasn't your intention. But what Dave was trying to pass on to you is that that's what you got to think about. It goes beyond that because you don't get a chance to explain it like you're doing on a hangout with us.
You're not a cartoon. There's not a
I see where somebody
over your head that reads what you really mean, right? So when you're in public and you go,
say that again, Dave.
I'm just trying to keep it real. I said you're not a cartoon. There's no bubble where somebody can read what you really mean. So when you go in public and you're trying to be you and you're trying to be real, there's a point at which you've got to choose. Okay, some of that reality you can keep to yourself. Some of it you can say, oh, I don't want to watch everything I say. But then again, if that's what's going to be your choice, then you don't want to change. You want to actually have these things be your negative calling card, maybe. I don't know, because we're pointing it out in a 360-degree way. You've got everybody here from across the country. You've got a woman here standing telling you
that it's not cool.
It's just something that you might want to think about.
Might want to think about it. Might want to consider.
The way that I received it the best so far was when Jason said it, and then I related that to what Khaliq had said. Now,
well, it's good. You're obviously misogynistic. You only listen to men. Period. That's what I think.
You're coming off emotional and assuming.
Emotional, assumption. Come on, you just said it. If a woman tells you,
let me finish what I was saying.
Wow.
Let me finish.
Let me sound like the same stuff.
Inhale, people. No, inhale.
Hold on. Stop. Hold on. Jason, when Jason said it, it was a hood way of saying it, which I understood better. And then I took that and applied it to what you guys were saying, which goes right back to you, Ms. Hampton, which I was coming to.
My name is Lisa. My name is Lisa Chambray.
Okay, Lisa, I will see now see that right there, even that. Me saying Ms. Hampton, that was a thing of respect. And you see what I mean? I would have to be very,
Do you know my name? Do you know my
first name? Hampton.
You know the name that I was born into, not just when I got married.
Lisa Chambray.
Chambray
and Lisa Hampton.
My name is Lisa.
Okay.
Right.
So now when I was saying Mrs. Hampton, that was me being respectful.
To you, it's being respectful. To me, it's being misogynistic. When we're sitting here talking about men, women, how you refer to men and women, and you didn't refer to me as my name, you refer to me as someone's wife. It's not the same thing.
That's garbage. That's garbage. Because in my culture, I'm giving you the ultimate respect, and now you're saying my culture is garbage. Now, when you have a conversation,
you just said it's garbage. You just said it's garbage.
When you have a conversation with me and you say, no, call me Lisa, because then I would see that as respectful. Then I say, okay, I got
I'm an
that.
individual.
I had no problem with that.
Okay, first of all, guys, let me step in for a second because see, first of all, we're way off topic. We're getting up and we're getting heated. So the thing is that my and I, because we all have been in here. Like I said, we kind of know the spirit, and we're all trying to grow on this whole thing. So what I think will serve you in this whole exercise is because you're defending your position because you really didn't mean no harm in your heart. But there are some things you need. But hold up and listen for a second. So just listen to what she's saying because we're getting this from the sources. Not all of us are males here, so we can never possibly know how it definitely arrives. We can only kind of guess. So you need to listen to what she's got to say and then repeat back to her that, okay, what I'm hearing you say is, and let me see if I got this straight so that you really know what she's saying, the point that she's getting it. Because you're coming back with things like saying you're getting emotional now. So then that's a whole nother part of a misogynistic thing that females are supposed to be emotional. You know what I'm saying? So you're unintentionally pushing them down again. So just listen for a second. I know that's not your intention. So like I said, don't be defensive, bro. Don't be defensive. Just take it in and try to observe from the other point to say, well, why did it go there? Try to understand that part. That'll serve you.
Sometimes what we say ends up being garbage. When we sit and say, I'm being misogynistic because I said, no, she's getting emotional, when I see her getting emotional and shutting down, she stopped me from saying something which I was coming back to her to pay her a compliment and say where I caught on to something. She stopped me because she got emotional. And
why? Ask yourself the question why. It's not about what you were getting ready to say or what you said. It's way deeper than that. So that's what I said. You gotta say, well, why did it go there? Why?
But how about this? How come if when no one else interrupts you and anyone else tries to say what they want to say, maybe they're passionate, but when a woman says it, they're emotional. It's all those words, dude.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, those are trigger words.
Okay, yeah, I'm passionate also. We're gonna go through misogynistic for me. That's garbage. When she was speaking, I'm sitting here listening and trying to understand. And not a problem. I'm working with it. But when I'm speaking, I know where I'm coming from. And this stuff has to be a two-way thing. It can't just be somebody comes in and they have some issue with some word and we only listen to them. No, my conversation is valid also. So when we say female out here, it means this. And somebody says it means something else over there. We have to both see both sides. I have no problem with her side.
Everybody's conversation is valid. I think what I see and others see is that language is a very tactical thing. Okay, whether you want to admit it or not.
It is.
So when you make a response like saying, "Oh, you're getting emotional," you are actually inciting a riot inside of the right person. And you just happen to incite a riot inside the right person. You chose the words tactically, though. I
chose that word accurately.
Stop, be quiet.
Go back and watch this video.
Stop, be quiet. You chose the words tactically as a response to try and defend your position. Stop. You now know that was probably the wrong choice because she wasn't going to back down. It was going to feed the fire. So sometimes all of us sitting, all of us sitting around it, we're analyzing the exchange. We're not wrong. You might be wrong. You understand that?
Right.
We're not wrong because we're just watching the exchange.
Well, it's not even about right and wrong. It's about it started going left, and that wasn't the intention, I think, on either side. So you don't understand why it went left, so try to understand why it went left.
When I'm speaking to the fellas, and I say to them, "Dog, chill out. You're getting emotional." We don't go through this. But now when I see one of my fellas getting emotional when I say it, we chill out. He's like, "Yeah, you're right, dog. Hold on."
Are you?
I honestly see somebody getting emotional and I call it, now I'm misogynistic. No, go back and watch the video.
You're not talking to your fellas.
But you see what you just said. You said when I'm talking to the fellas.
You're not talking to your fellas. You're talking to a woman who's a professional in the industry.
A woman.
You can be however you want to be. You can be however you want to be. I'm not telling you to change your ways. What I'm telling you straight up is that I hear how you talk. I know who you are from how you talk, and whatever on your heart, I hear what you're saying, man. So I don't want to work with you.
Okay, not a problem. But when Lisa sits up and says, I'm being misogynistic because she's a woman and I said emotion, then I turn around and say, hold on, I say that to my fellas also. But then when I say it to my fellas also, it's pointed out, oh, you said it to the fellas.
Now you're capsulizing one thing that she said and applying it towards all. She said you're misogynistic based on the sequence of conversation that you said. She said, this is my interpretation of it as a woman. So if you're gonna broad brush things, again, you're choosing words, but you're choosing to use them and apply them in certain places so that it makes your argument right. That's stank. Don't do it. We're watching the whole exchange. We're watching the whole exchange. We've seen it. We're way off topic, but I'm just telling you because I hate to see when people take little tidbits of actuality and apply them in certain places to try and create a correct broad brush argument. It's not going to happen, Ma.
We're way off topic, but I'll be damned if
this is a topic. Take it as a lesson, man. Take it as a lesson.
This is a good topic because,
like Steve was saying though, it's a matter of reading the room. Because what I got out of it, the thing that really set it off, and Mott, I know what you said. Like I said, I know what you mean. But in the context of the whole conversation, when you come off to somebody and say, "Excuse me, Mrs. Hampton," that's an aggressive. You made it mean
passive aggressive.
It's a very aggressive term where you're like, when I'm in an argument, all right, sir, you good. Sir is
I've always called her Miss. Whenever I've referred to it, has been Mrs. Hampton.
No,
because you're misogynistic.
I don't know her.
But it was like you said, Mott. That was the way you always responded. But in that context, right then there, those were fighting words.
Just now?
And he's in Atlanta.
That was a submitting word. That was submitting. Like, what do you mean? I'm submitting.
But he's in Atlanta. So can he be wrong perceiving what he did in Atlanta? Can we be wrong?
Listen close. What I just said was
there's a point to what we're saying.
I'm submitting.
There might be a small chance that there's a point to what we're all saying. There might be a chance that there's a small point to what we're all saying. Hey, Mott.
There absolutely is.
That there's a small point to what we're all saying.
There absolutely is.
Well, Mott, check this out. So you said you were saying you were being submissive, right?
Yes.
Right.
On that thing. Okay, but check this out. Hear me out though, because see, here's the thing. You are not a submissive person. Am I correct in making that statement?
And I also
am I correct in making that statement? Am I correct in making that assessment? You're not a submissive person. I said you are not a submissive person, correct?
I'm not a submissive person. So when I submit
to something, well, hold up. Okay, so here's the thing: is when you said everything beyond that, but based on who you are at your core, see, it didn't translate because that's not being congruent for who you are. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't coming off real, when you're saying that, that's what Jason was saying, that's coming off aggressive, and I put passive aggressive because you're being passive, but it's really it's an aggressive thing. You're saying you're submitting, but it wasn't arriving as being submissive or and when I say submissive, because I don't like that word. I don't think anybody has to be.
You guys you're keen off the word submissive. What I was saying was, I was submitting to something, not being submissive like that. I was submitting to something.
I understand. Yeah, but
you're right. I'm not a submissive type person. So when I submit to something where I'm in error or anything like that, that's a huge thing. I'm sitting here. Look, I do not know Lisa. And for me, when I say Mrs. Glover, that is such because the words we refer to women on the streets compared to saying Mrs. Glover, there is a huge respect. And then when I'm given the okay to say Lisa, which is a first name basis, knowing somebody familiar, that's a different stage. I wouldn't come up and call her Lisa. I would consider that disrespectful. Well, if I walked up to her and said, "Hello, Lisa," I would call her Lisa.
I think it's very good, and it's very good to park it at that. I said, the thing that I needed to, just say is, we all kind of witness the exchange, and it's important that things like this happen because I said what I did a little while back, right?
Yes.
Several months ago.
Yes.
As just a suggestion. So if I say that as a suggestion and something like this just happened, this wasn't planned. I didn't say, hey, come on over and chew this cat up. He's doing crazy language. No, you got a natural visceral reaction from a professional woman in this business who is in this same industry. So this is what I'm telling you, man. This is what I'm telling you. Any of these situations you go in, you got to be careful. You got to be careful, because when you open your mouth, it is the sum total of your brain on display. Okay, and that's for all of us. On the internet, when we're on camera, when we go to speak in public, any of it, we gotta really watch what we say, whether we be male, man, woman, female, professional, non-professional, any of us who are using the internet right now. We can't play around with it.
Yeah, Jason says it's all about the context.
And Jason said it. It's all about the context. Jason is in Atlanta. We're all in these different places viewing it. We're not coming from a bad place. We're coming from a place to tip you to some real game. So this is what I'm talking about. When you want to hug up on the street, you better make up your mind how far you want to go, because some of that disrespectful shit that takes place on the street doesn't need to go any further. And that's my way of, I try and sanitize it when I talk to you, because they don't like me cursing on these calls. But you need to cool it, because you understand and I understand. I got street read. I've been on the earth a little while longer than you. I got street read you don't even know about. So you need to understand what you convey when you say all these things. It is not taken lightly in some areas. It is not looked at lightly, because you not only representing your hood, you representing everybody that's in your camp, what they doing, how they doing it, and when you want it to be looked at and analyzed and considered, it all comes into motion, because you're at the head of it. Why do you think we take the time to tell you these things? Because you're trying to do something. If you're trying to do something, listen, man.
Well, that's a big part too, because if we didn't care about you, bro, and try to pull you on, we wouldn't tell you nothing and watch you self-destruct. It's the little stuff that matters. People told us the same thing. I always have to remind myself of these lessons. These are lessons along the way, and they do make a thing. So after we get done with this call and everything, we know your heart did not mean any of the way this went. But you, like you said, what you have to do consider now is rather than even worry about, don't worry about trying to be right or wrong. Right or wrong gets everybody in. Don't worry about right or wrong. Say, why did it go left there? And like Dave said, he mentioned this months ago, and this is something that happened organic. Imagine if that had been the head of a major record label, and you know, suddenly it went left like that just from an innocuous comment. You know, it could, and it very well could have been, you know. So this is practice for us all to remember that we have to realize that our words go beyond our hood, go beyond what we thought and what I intended, you know. And it's not about watching what you do. It's just about growing up. You know, the respect level, you know, I mean, the person I respected more in my whole life was my mom. And so she taught me little things about, you know, this is, you know, how you deal with us, because she had to battle through and all that. We all think about some of these old school movies where we saw where different women had to really fight through a sea of men trying to keep them down and everything. And I witnessed it firsthand, and I think we all probably could look up to our moms of what they had to fight through for. So it's a level of respect and keeping them up there and making them, going out of our way to not make them feel like we're trying to push them down. Because, you know, us men, we have our testosterone and we have all the little things that we've been taught and everything. But part of growing up is adjusting some of these things to make them important, because I really think that we are all level. We all got strengths that the other doesn't have, and we fill each other and we complete each other on that whole thing. So the way we communicate has to be equaled out, you know, not just you know, not just trying to be defensible as far as saying, well, I'm not going to, you know, I'm used to this and I can't back down and I can't change it. It's not even about that. Don't worry about right or wrong. We got to adjust. Why did this thing go so left? You know, think about that, Ma. Why did it go so left? You didn't mean no harm in what you were saying. We understand that. We know you and get you. So this is a study moment for you, unlike anything else that'll come in life, because, see, this won't harm you. This can only help you right now.
Right. You guys know I study and grow. Right. But as far as you guys, I mean, you don't ever have to tell me that you mean well for me. I know you and Dave mean well for me, and I know you guys see me on the car crashes that I'm, you know, headed into, right? But when you guys say something, I take it serious. and I know that you guys come from a good place, and you know that's why, like, there's some stuff that you guys can say to me that other people can't, right? Because I've opened myself up to you guys, but then there's things like when, like, for me and my personal culture, when I say things like Mrs. Peterson, there is so much respect that goes into something like Mrs. Peterson, where I hold the person up high. But then when I'm told that I'm being misogynistic or anything negative when I say that, that's a slap in the face to me when I'm meaning well. And so then I sit back and be like, well, damn, I can't say nothing. I'm just going to sit here and shut up.
No, you can't.
I actually mean very well.
We get it, man. But see, that's why I say it's a communication thing. It didn't arrive the way you intended it. So that's where what you have to modify how it arrives. It's not the delivery mechanism is kind of broke.
Yeah, and you got to remember, just as much as you're all on your side and you have a total understanding where you're coming from, Lisa has to understand where she's coming from. Okay? And of all of us, she's the most authoritative coming from a standpoint of a woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Can we agree on that? Can we agree on that basic fact? It just so happens in the context of this call, it's even more pertinent because she's a woman.
We got Angela on here now.
So no, Angela, yes, I didn't know Angela was back on.
Yeah, but Angela's back on. I think, Angela, were you watching this exchange?
Were
you listening online?
What happened was my husband came home, and I was talking to him, and I, got away from the hangout, and I came back, and I saw there was an exchange going on. So I'm actually not in real time right now, going back to see what happened, what was said, so that I could get caught up on the conversation. So I did just catch the beginning of the exchange where Mott asked Dave to go and beat him up about the terminology of using the word female versus women or ladies or whatever. And so I haven't got past that yet, but so I'm just kind of in listening mode, listening. Decided to come on and join the conversation. If there was anything that I could add, I will.
We want you to check that out and then chime in. I think that would be more helpful than anything, because she's
chime in, please.
I will.
Yeah.
but I say all that to say that there's both sides. So just as much as you're into what you're saying and how you are, she's into what she's saying and how she is, and it's extremely relevant because it's part of this professional community. It's not nothing is taken lightly, and in order to be a participant, somebody who's working in this industry, it is nothing to take lightly. In order to be a woman working in this industry, it is really nothing to take lightly. Okay, so it's not like you're talking to somebody who wants to be something. You're talking about somebody who already is doing what the things that they wanted to be. So you cannot discount any of that. So just as much as you're on fire for what you're doing, she's on fire for representing women in what she's been through in reality to do what she's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So everybody's position, we understand it, but like Khaliq said, there's a lot that gets lost in the translation because you don't walk around, Mott, with subtitles going, "I'm real, I'm from the hood." People don't know that. They don't know any of that, and they can't experience that because you have to give them the most relevant things first. You talked a little bit about bio up front. A bio contains the most relevant facts first. Okay? So when you get to know, people don't need to know some of these other things, and they don't need to find it out on a oops. You got what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that puts it a little bit more in context. They don't need to find out your street philosophy on an oops. They might not even need to experience your street philosophy. Right?
Most of the time they don't.
Most of the time they don't. So figure out who you're going to be in each situation. Read the room, read the room, read the room. Read the book, and in the book it has a chapter that says read the room. Read the room.
And let me give you something too. There's a quote that I want to give you. I'm good for my quotes and everything.
Go ahead.
This is by a guy named Stephen R. Covey, who wrote a book called the 7 Habits of the most effective people, or something similar to that. But his 5th habit of the people that have been high achievers out here and things like that, The fifth habit is seek first to understand, then to be understood. You know, that's a huge one. You've got to
And that
seek
goes
first.
both ways.
No, but
Yes,
I'm saying you don't
absolutely.
have. But see, here's the thing. This is it. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. So order is the of importance. See, what you were doing is you were trying to be. You wanted to be understood and then understand. It's the order that's important. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. If you do it in that particular order, you very seldom will have to defend anything that you do, because you will understand the scenario before you move or say or anything like that. And it's not about putting a governor and checking everything and I can't say nothing. It's not about that. You just have to understand. Like I said, when we take it down to the thing, read the room, you know, in every circumstance. You know, this hangout right now is representing you. This is going out now. It can't nothing else be done. It's on YouTube now. So there's going to be hundreds, thousands, or even millions potentially of women that are going to watch that exchange that went down now, that's going
Right.
to represent you and how it arrived at another woman. You know?
Right.
So that's all. That's what I'm saying. Seek first to understand. And that's what I say when you go back, it's not about blame. It's not about right and wrong. Don't even worry about that. Understand what just happened. What just happened? Why did it go there? That was not my intention. You know. So would you honestly say that she got me wrong? You know. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, I really believe that. I sincerely believe that what you intended was not the way it arrived. And so that's
Not
the
even
thing.
close.
Is your delivery mechanism has to be adjusted. It's not about right or wrong. It just has to be adjusted. You know, because it went wrong, and not only did it go wrong with her. Now, it's like I said, it's going to spread now. It's going to go way beyond. That's why I want when
I don't
Angela
mind.
gets a chance to catch up, I guarantee you she's going to come on and give you some more input that's probably going to be right in the same area. This is helpful to your growth. Very helpful.
Right. I don't mind this being on YouTube at all, because this is an honest thing. This is me honestly speaking. This is her honestly speaking. And there's going to be car crashes. But when you say we have to seek to understand, that goes both ways. Because when you get two people who are coming like this, it has to go both ways. If
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, let me tell you why.
Okay.
Though, because the
Yeah.
title of the book was the most effective people. Not everybody's
Right.
effective. So the person that seeks first to understand is going to be one of the most effective people, the high achievers in the world. Everybody else, if they ain't trying to see, like I said, you're saying this has to be both ways. No, most of the time it isn't both ways. The most effective people do it in that order, and everybody else is underneath because they're not trying to understand first. They're trying to be understood, make their point and everything, and it's out of order. It's out of order. That's what's going to make you more effective. You know, so don't worry about the other thing. You got to trust me. This is not coming from Khaliq. This is coming from hundreds of thousands of people that reach that 1% in the world. You know, out of the millions or billions or whatever we got, there's 1%, 1 to 2% in the world that are a part of that most effective thing. If you want to join those people, you have to understand that that's the order that they do it in, and you have to model that to have the success you want. Otherwise, you're gonna, you can be. Well, I made my point. But then what did it get you? What did it gain you? It's a lot there, man. You know, this is so helpful. It's helpful for all of us too, because trust me, I got smacked down like this several times in my career as well too, and I still probably have a few coming in. You know, this is something that carries over even when you have relationships, in personal relationships and business and family relationships, all these dynamics, the same principle really works. And when you inhale and say, let me understand what's going on first before I just try to be right. Let me understand what the heck is going on. And if nobody else does that and you do it, you can control and guide how it goes and make sure that you have a good outcome instead of a bad outcome. But
I got a quick short
that
story.
was so interesting. Go ahead, Joseph.
An hour ago or so, I made a comment about not even having bumper stickers, on our equipment, on our vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
We were taking a mobile rig to someone's party, and we were using one of the workers as a van. And because of the weather, we took this big ass cargo van. He had a bumper sticker on there that was from a band. And this band, I don't know the name of it. This was a while ago. It could have been construed as something that was, anti-government, anti-military. And here we're going to a decorated war hero's house to record video and audio of a ceremony that's going to take place. Skip the details, it doesn't matter. At the end, that van was down at the end of a hill, smashed into a telephone pole because somebody reached in, put it in neutral, and gave it a push. Because that bumper sticker offended them. So no more bumper stickers. When I made the comment that I don't represent myself, I really should have more accurately said, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not white, I'm not black, I'm not Oriental, okay? I'm not a money-hungry person, I'm not striving to be the smartest man in the room, none of these things. I'm still exactly who I am, but when I go into a situation where I'm dealing with multiple personalities, it's best for me to keep my ears open and my mouth shut until I see what people want from me, because that's what my job is. I'm there to satisfy them, and that's it. That's just the simplest way to put it. So I try to be vanilla, so to speak, until I get to know them, and then more of my personality, who I really am, can be exposed in a kind of a timely fashion, I guess would be the way to put it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So you said something too, Joseph, that it reminded me of something. Here's another time when I was younger and I got a smack down in life because I just didn't know. I didn't know any better. Didn't mean no harm, but I said it. When I was early in my career, working, when I first went independent, I was working on a lot of projects for different, like I went to Japan several times and worked with a lot of Korean artists and things like that. And a couple of times I used the term Oriental, because I'm older. I came up, and I heard that, we're Oriental people and all that. And one day somebody pulled me to the side and said, yo, man, I'm just going to tell you, you're being offensive with that term. Oriental is a rug. So we are Asian people, and you're called, and I was like, really? And he said, like, we know you didn't mean nothing, but you keep using the term and you're not realizing what you're saying. And it, like every time it comes out your mouth, it's like a little sting dagger at us. So I had to pull you aside and let you know, I meant absolutely no harm. Just so from that moment on, and then I pass it on to anybody else and let them know. And it just stuck in my mind. He said, "Oriental is a rug." Right away. So that's what we're talking about. It's the same thing as versus female versus a woman. A woman is that's so much bigger than the other word. So that's why little differences like that make it very important. And I learned that lesson. That was amazing.
Yeah, no, that's a good story. It really is. How about Whitney Houston's I'll Always Love You?
Mm-hmm.
And who was the now here we go. Here's being political correct. That really large-breasted blonde lady.
Dolly Parton you're talking about. Yeah, she wrote it. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton. Yes, she sang the song I Will Always Love You.
Yeah, she wrote it. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I heard her sing it, but when it kind of, it's like you're talking about earlier. I think of Whitney Houston when I think of that song.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that's another one. If you want to like compare, the two versions. One is Whitney Houston that moves me tremendously. But when I hear the Dolly Parton version, and God bless her, she's great at what she does, but it didn't do it for me,
Mm-hmm. No, I got you. Yeah.
There's another great country star, and he sings the Oasis song. I got friends down at the Oasis.
Mm-hmm.
God, I got such a brain fart. I can't think of his name right now. He's the greatest country star probably ever. He's at least in terms of his Vegas show and making money. a friend of mine gave me a tape. This is before CDs, and said, "This is the guy. This guy is going to be the best country singer in the world." You know, and I listened to the tape for a minute, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm not a country fan. And sure as shit, he ended up becoming, you know, one of the absolute all-time most money-making, record-selling.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Oh my God,
Brooks.
Garth Brooks. Thank you. Yeah. And this is like his first album, and I never even heard of the guy. And I'm thinking, yeah, whatever, man. This guy can't sing. What did I know? Yeah, he ended up being like one of the greatest, you know. But, yeah, that's incredible. No, country's definitely got a lot. My wife listens to country, you know, and sometimes I just go, oh God, man, it's so loud. You know, it's just loud, you know.
Yeah.
Well, here's a topic.
We got you know what, Jason and all you guys too. I swear I can't wait till Bill watches the replay of this. He's gonna be rolling. Bill's gonna be on the floor, man.
I got a chance to engineer yesterday for one of my all-time, again, well, I was an adult during the 2000s, but one of the artists that really brought me through that decade, I got the chance to engineer for him yesterday, and I have never been starstruck before. I worked with, you know, I've been in rooms with Mariah Carey. I've been in rooms with, you know, pretty big, you know, I interned under Future. But yesterday I had Music Soul Child, and I could not for the life of me do anything. It was the weirdest scenario. And I'm not going to say I didn't mess anything up, but it was just so surreal to me. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody else has had that happen to them. I count myself as a professional. You know, I know my chops. I know how to EQ. I know how to work Pro Tools. But yesterday I just couldn't do anything. How do y'all deal with that?
Oh man. I've been in this situation a couple of times, and you know, bottom line is you just gotta refocus. Do what you are there to do, and this will be all good. You know, you were good enough to be in the room in the first place, so just do what you're there to do, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, and you know, like we were talking about reading the room, it wasn't even appropriate for me, even after the session was over, and to say, hey, you know, sir. I'm a big fan, so I apologize if I was slower than normal, or if I made you frustrated, or I messed up your flow. It wasn't even appropriate to say that. No. You couldn't even apologize to the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's one thing too that it's interesting you say that, because I think somebody told me that as well. It was another lesson, because I used to be in if I used to get into apologize mode if I didn't think something was going right and all that, and then somebody pulled me to the side as well and said, hey man, don't ever do that, because you know, you may have been cool, it may not have been perfect, but you know, our minds play tricks on us, so it may not be anywhere as bad as you were thinking it is, but suddenly you shine a spotlight on how inept you think you are. You're not sure of yourself, you're not confident, and they put their confidence in you. So you just snatch that away, and then they won't want to give it back, because if you're not confident in what you did. Now, if you make a mistake, the biggest thing, part of getting respect is owning up to it and things like that. But if you didn't make any mistakes and things like that just totally had to be in there, you don't have to shine a spotlight on it. I got to apologize. I didn't do this or I didn't do that and everything. You know, you can always just strive to do better, but you don't have to diminish what you've done. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get it totally. You're right. It probably wasn't that bad. It's just, you know, first time working with the artist. If anybody's ever worked with him before, you know he's really detailed. He can run Pro Tools better probably than some of us. But, you know, he's an artist. He has, you know, his way of operating. He's got to adjust to that. So now that I look at it that way, maybe I wasn't that bad. Maybe he just was in a quiet mood and didn't want to say much. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and plus, usually if it is that bad, they're gonna let you know, and you won't be around, because people are not gonna stand for it just because you're there. If you're messing up and you're slowing down the situation and the result they're trying to get, they're gonna ask you to leave the room, and then they're gonna step in and take over or get somebody in there that can do it. So, they may be used to somebody else or whatever, but, I know I've been in situations where, for example, like I said, I'm older, so I started on tape machines and everything. I'm never going to be as fast as some of these young kids that's coming up there on Pro Tools, know every single key command, move around and all that, do all the. I'm never going to be that fast, But I do what I do now, and that's okay. And when I get in with somebody that knows who I am, they don't expect that of me because they see where I'm at, and then it's like, okay, I can get anything done you need. But if you got somebody that you need doing editing and stuff like that, and digging in and slicing and dicing and all the key commands and all the fast stuff, then you don't expect that out of me. That's not what I do. I didn't come up even in that era to have that kind of thing, and I'm not going to compete on that level.
Okay, cool. Sorry to change the subject. I just thought we could.
No, that's good. We're kind of all over the place today. We started out. We still haven't even played the Pensado mix and stuff like that. I'll still get to that. I am very. In fact, maybe I'll do that because I'm. Angela's still listening to the exchange mod. I'm really interested for her to get in there. But I think this was so helpful, really, even though this is unscripted, guys. This is like reality TV. So it was so cool, And the good thing is none of us had any drinks, So, usually they make sure everybody gets some drinks. Okay, now let them have at it.
I'm totally sober.
Yeah. But the good thing is this is a sobering experience. It teaches us. Like I said, that's what I tell you, Mod. I got it. I was in a whole room full of different people, like I said, and they let me know. It's like, if you don't know what to say, don't say Oriental, say Asian, because you may have a bunch of different people from different places. So sometimes, I used to make mistakes calling different people, yeah, that Chinese person or that that's just as bad. Because it's like, I ain't Chinese, I'm Korean or something. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff that you don't know, but you learn along the course of the way.
Right, but now if you get jumped and accused of stuff because you say that and it's not in you what they're thinking, that's where I say both sides I have to look at you and say, Khaliq didn't mean such and such when he said such and such, and that keeps us from having the argument, because what I have inside me when you say a word is not necessarily what you have inside you. And that's why I said it has to go both ways.
Well, yes, see, that's what I said. The guy that talked to me, he brought it to my attention first because he tried to understand, well, where's this cat coming from? Because he said, I've been hearing you say this over and over again. So he didn't hit me at first with it. He was just listening and watching, and he was checking me out to see where my spirit was on this. Am I dealing with somebody that just got some little race issues with, with me and my people, or do I have somebody that's just saying a term that they don't understand what they're saying? Okay, once he made the assessment, then he came to me and said, here's what's up, and here's why I'm telling you this, and here's how it's arriving at other people. Because there was a few other people that was kind of pissed that was in that whole thing. This was one guy that seeked first to understand where I was coming from as a person, and then he came in and made me understand, and then asked me, well, how what was my context of it. Here's another example too. When I first came to LA, and when you first come to LA, you're exposed to a lot of different cultures and things like that, and when you come from your own little hood and everything, you can say some stuff and be in the wrong company, as far as you don't know what you're saying is offensive, and then people start, some people are ready to fight at the slightest thing. What did you say? You don't even realize what happened. I was in a couple of scenarios like that, and then it cooled itself down because they realized, well, he ain't coming. But when people don't know you, all they know is the surface. So like Dave was saying, none of us has the little speech bubbles that cartoons and comics have to say, this is what I meant. They just hear what comes out, and then depending on their life experience or whatever, they may get on guard and be ready to go. So it's like it's an interesting thing, but that's part of growing up and getting older and understanding that you don't try to please everybody. You don't try to change the scenario. You don't try to change who you are at the core of you, but you can adjust who you are at the core to be, a little more aware of the scenario so that you maintain the control. This scenario today just got totally out of control, and it really didn't have to because of a terminology that wasn't even meant to, so like Jason was saying, I get you, man. I know what you meant. Like when you were saying it, but the first thing I went through too is when you talking about having some girls pull us off the walls and all that. Well, I ain't necessarily going to be down with that because I got a whole nother thing going in my head. But I hear you. I hear what you say. I know where you're coming from. Just everybody having fun and all that. So that was interesting to me. It was very interesting.
Hey, Mahat.
And Angela came back. Angela, you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Go ahead, Angela.
I haven't finished the entire exchange. I was on the part with the Lisa Miss Hampton exchange. So
keep going. Yeah, it's a good part. There.
It was getting really good and really yeah, it was like
okay. Keep going because Joseph will hold us off for a second. Go ahead, so you can hit me with it.
Okay.
No, man, I was just gonna say, Matt, that I don't know you really. I mean, we've only hung out a couple of times, 4 or 5 times, but I like you. I like what you say. I like that you put yourself, you put your heart right out there. There's a lot of folks that don't want to be authentic, and that's one of the reasons that I've never got involved with online anything. Is it was like, what do I need to, I'm just going to listen to a bunch of people lie to me. You know what I mean? I never really had any interest in it. And you're not like that. I can tell right away that you're being authentic. You're being the way you are. And I thought that's refreshing. And it's unfortunate that, at least I find it's unfortunate that there are times when I hold my tongue because I know it's the right thing to do. And that's the only reason why I do it, because I really want to chew some ass sometimes, with the folks that I hang around with. Is I don't like them. I don't like some, and I just flat out don't like some of the crap that I have to put up with. But that's how it is, But I definitely, I do. I like hearing you, and I'd love to see your place, man. It looks like you got a hell of a thing going on over there, And if I'm ever in that neck of the woods, I definitely will. I definitely will call you up, If you're ever in Detroit, you can always call me up, That sounds like we could hang, There's no doubt about it. And Jason, I'm envious.
Any of y'all are more than welcome here.
All right, man. That's all I had to say.
Any of y'all are more
little fluff.
Where there's a whole bunch of us who come through here, and a big part of it is training, artist development, the stuff that we keep hearing that people don't have, the stuff that's not out there, and we have no clue about some of the stuff that we're doing. We just jump in and start doing it. And that's why, I asked Khaliq and Dave and others to give input so that as we go through doing this stuff and just out of total Dave don't want me to say it, ignorance. As we do this stuff without knowledge, and we start gaining the knowledge through doing it, Khaliq and Dave, they help us not take as long as it could,
Right.
And that's like part of the thing about the Hangouts that helps is we get the information from the Hangouts, and then we go apply the stuff, then we come back to a Hangout, converse about it, then go back and do it again. Like even this exchange today, now I'm going to go back to everybody here. We're going to discuss, we're going to watch this as a team and have a big old discussion. It might get bigger than what we just saw as far as emotions flying, and we'll get a real take on how people feel and what people saw and what's really there. But all of this stuff, to me, this is what this chat stuff is for, is this right here. And we can be fake. We can sit here, like you're saying, lie to each other and whatever, but then we get nowhere. So
no, I agree with you 100%. You get nowhere, and you just wasted a bunch of valuable time, if everybody's just fake.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, it don't make any sense to come in here and try to get information and then walk away with nothing.
Well, see, now I'll go back. I'll watch this and look at myself and what I was saying, and not as me, and look at it and try to see the other side once I've taken a break. Take a break from it.
Sure.
Come back and watch and see and try to see the other side and see how much of it I can. Because some stuff I won't be able to stomach. It's honestly not in me. I won't be able to stomach it. And then there's some stuff I will be able to internalize and work with. But there's no way, I already know, there's no way me as Ma'at Hotep am going to be able to stomach everything. And in the future, who knows, as I grow or whatever. But I will go back and watch and we'll
I
see.
think for the parts that you can't stomach, I think what would help is if you muted the parts, the parts coming up you can't stomach. Mute it and watch everybody else. I don't know if you can see it on YouTube, but if you can watch the reactions of everybody while that exchange is happening that you personally can't stomach, I think you'll be able to see what's happening in real time. And like you said, you want to see it outside of yourself. If you mute it and just watch reactions, because I think there were some, maybe I did, it could have been a laugh, it could have been a look away, it could have been a, this is getting uncomfortable type thing. Then you can kind of see where everything is happening for the parts that you personally can't stomach. You know what I mean?
He probably ain't gonna be able to see that as well because the pictures of us down at the bottom are only for us internally. So the playback that's going out to YouTube, they won't see all the reactions. So if he watches a replay, I don't think it's gonna be on there.
Okay.
To be able to see us here, only in real time. Yeah. But still, yeah, no, but it's cool. I mean, like I said, this is all just an exercise. It's an exercise for all of us to remember and remind that words matter out here, our actions matter, and like all this started from you talking about the bio situation. So we were talking about the bio is what represents you when you can't be there. So this is all ties in, the things that represent you when you can't be there in person. This video, how the words we say, the choices that we make, and everything. That's what's going in front of us when we can't be there in front of people in person. And
now, I forget which one of you guys said that this would represent me now. It's out there. I think it was you, Khaliq. Me, Ma'at. I prefer stuff like this representing me out there. And I know some people say that's a death of you, man. No. It needs to be out there.
No,
there are people who are scared as crap say or do anything. They won't budge. And this is real stuff. And I don't mind stuff like this at all.
See, the good thing too, Ma, is that this I've seen you over the course of this time that we've all been together and getting to know each other more. I've seen you grow. So I see that you are trying to open up your mind on a lot of things. You are a lot more flexible now where you were inflexible when we first met. So there's a lot of growth that I've seen. So you'll grow from this. When you keep saying that right now you're kind of dug into your position because you can't see it. But I see you are a knowledge and truth seeker. You are trying to grow just for the fact that I've seen you do this. So I have no doubt that you'll get it and be able to handle all this. You'll get an understanding, even if it doesn't come immediately. You'll get an understanding why this went left, and it really wasn't. And also, you'll get an understanding why, but it wasn't that bad either. This is where I'm looking at it because it's some people are going to take it really bad, really to the left. Other people are going to be kind of in the middle, and then other people will be like, well, that's what I do, so it's going to be all across the board. You just have to understand it by checking it out, see what's up, and be okay that it is you, though. It's where you are at this point. It's how you feel. It's real. That's the best authentic representation of who you are. But the bigger authentication of your character is that you are willing to go back and look. You're willing to go back and grow from this. And you may or may not change your opinion about how this went down, but that's not the important thing. You do want to learn from it, so that in itself will be beneficial.
Now, when I say the stuff I can't stomach, what I'm actually talking about is if somebody comes in and says, you're a white guy, I can't even process that. Since I know who I am and I'm very knowledgeable about who I am, I spent a lot of time finding out. When I know what I'm even presently doing, and my whole philosophy, how I operate, and the things I do, when somebody says that I'm something, and I'm sitting there like, nah. If my words aren't conveying it right, so be it, not a problem. But I cannot internalize certain things.
It's so interesting when you say stuff like that, because I had somebody say that to me. You know, because you see, I mean, I'm a knowledge sponge. So somebody told me I was Khaliq. You basically said, Khaliq, you're a white guy. You trying to be white, dude? Just because I like learning stuff, I will get in and get all these things. So I didn't take that as a thing to repudiate. I was like, okay, well, you can think that. I mean, I'm as black as anybody. Grew up in the hoodest of hoods and all that. So if you think me trying to become somewhat educated on what I can do and control to better my understanding of life, then your limitation and view of me is just very, that's your problem. That's not mine. So I've been told that, you're very intelligent. You've definitely got education. So there's going to be somebody out there that says, you're white, or you're trying to be white or something like that. You don't even have to process it from their point of view. So when you say you can't stomach it, I just say flip that script and like, okay, let them see it. And it's like, oh, okay, here's why they said that. So I'm good. I'm good with that. Go ahead, say whatever the hell you're gonna say. I can stomach that because that's a good thing. Actually, think what you want, bro.
And then there's simply trying to see what somebody else is saying. Simply try to perceive what they are seeing of me. Like when I say something, how I'm actually being perceived, which can communicate. You can communicate a whole lot accidentally or whatever. Oh, you ready? Sis, you ready? Angela, you ready?
I think I am. I mean, I'm not all the way caught up to current conversation, but that would take a while, and so I am going to finish, but yeah, I mean, wow, I don't even know where to start. I did take a little bit of notes towards the end there because there's some things I do want to say, but when you said female from the very beginning. The initial, and Jason brought up the exact point that was in my mind, and so did Lisa, which was Lisa said that when the usage of female in that particular context, even though I know that it wasn't your intention to mean it this way, was when you hear females. I'm going to bring some females to the event and to pull people off the wall and dance. It did have that connotation that you were saying hoes, bringing some hoes here to, that. Now I understood where she was coming from with that, but at the same time, with the usage of the word female in general, I don't normally have a problem with unless someone's directing it towards me. So let me give you an example. I might use female when I'm using Instagram and I'm doing a hashtag to describe myself, female producer, only because producer who is a woman is really long. A producer who is a woman is just be the extremely long hashtag and probably has nothing attached to it, because I can pretty much guarantee any woman who is a producer is going to put female producer, because we've had to adapt to what our male counterparts see us as, is a female producer. They have, kind of tagged us as that. And, whether that's me embracing it or not, I mean, it's what it is. Yes, I am a female producer, but I do not refer to myself as a female generally, or I probably would get offended I'm in lots of groups, Pensado students, other groups, producers Hangout, some other private groups and things like that, and most of the majority of them are male saturated. Heavily, I'm very, very much the minority in the group, with maybe a handful of other women. But notice I didn't say other females, because I wouldn't say it like that. Right. I would use female producer just to kind of give that, to show that yes, there are women doing this, but I don't generally refer, I don't like to be referred to as a female. If I were to, you know, go to a studio and someone was like, yeah, you know, or I heard somebody on the phone, yeah, I got this female over here, yeah, I would be really highly offended. Because yes, yes, that is a term for, you know, our gender, but, or, you know, whatever you want to say. But I would prefer to be called a woman, just because to me it's a, you know, just a respect thing. I wouldn't go around saying, you know, I got this dude over here, I'm going to bring some dudes to do this, that, and the other. No, just would be kind of weird. Also, like, you kind of take that to, you can kind of, I don't know if this was touched on at all, but, you know, I know you said that where you come from, that's not what you mean. And I understand that too, because I understand, you know, in your general in your general area that you you know, you might use female, you know, just kind of throwing it around. But then you think about it, the N-word, you know, there are people who use that just loosely, you know, even people who aren't black, you know, because we have that, you know, we can have that. I don't want to have that debate here, but the actual spelling of it, you know, the negative one, there are people who say it but don't necessarily have hate in their heart, you know. And I know you said that when you say female and you got upset when she came back and was like, well, that's not me, that's not what I mean, that's not what I have in my heart, that's not what I meant by it. But then you gotta, you know, to continuously using it in this setting as professional as possibly the Pensado student, I mean the Pensado awards, or even within groups and on the internet, you know, typing it, you have to be really careful, because like you all, Khaliq and Dave were saying, what's coming out of your mouth, people are assessing, you know, what that initial communication. And also the another thing was the word emotional. Well, I knew that was a
trigger word.
That was a hot trigger word there, and I could identify with her with that, because even after you said emotional, okay, wait, hold on, you're getting emotional, and she's like, wait, hold on, now I'm not getting emotional, and it was like, then you're like, you know, we got past that, and you start talking some more, and then some other exchange happened. You're like, whoa, you're getting emotional, and it was like maybe the second or third time, it was like, okay, hold on now. You keep saying I'm getting emotional, blah, blah, blah. So I saw where she was coming from with that, and mainly because I've been in groups where I've seen guys go back and forth defending their position on something, and nobody ever said anything about anybody getting emotional or anybody having an attitude. But as soon as I said something, it was like, oh, are you getting an attitude? Oh, my gosh. Like, no, I'm not getting attitude, but you know, I'm about to get attitude. I'm about to catch attitude. I'm about to do this, this, and that, and the other. So, yes, those type of trigger words do affect women, because, you know, there are other words. And yes, I know it's hard to be politically correct every time. So yes, we do have slip-ups and things like that. But it's no different than this. There's a thing going on right now, a campaign about ending the word bossy, because for some reason women, when they are in an authoritative role, or they have some type of position of power and they have to express themselves, a lot of times they are referred to as being bossy. Well, actually, let me bring that back down. It's not women who are referred to as being bossy, it's little girls. Little girls, when they're on the playground, bossy. So there's a campaign right now to end the word bossy, because those same women who are considered bossy when they're little girls, you know, they might just be they might be leaders, future leaders in our communities. But then those same women, sometimes later on, those same people who are calling those women bossy, now they're the other word with the B, which I don't curse, so I'm not going to say it, but you all know it starts with a B and it ends with a Y. You know, and that's kind of like going back to this whole female thing. You know, it's demeaning. Even if you don't mean it that way, it can come across that way. At the same time, in a certain context, I don't have a problem with it in a certain context. Like I said, when you say something like a female producer, it's kind of almost a widely accepted in our industry, kind of widely accepted term. So I wouldn't necessarily be offended by it because, at the same, for me, when we're dealing in this digital realm with these hashtags and everything else, it is something that's probably a more hot topic tag than woman who is a producer. Just you got to shorten it down somewhere, some kind of way. And then the other point that Lisa was making was when you said you got it when Jason was giving his example, and and she had a problem with you saying that you got it then, but you didn't hear anything that she was saying, and she was calling you misogynistic and whatnot, which I don't believe that you are misogynistic, just for record, okay? But I can see where that came across that way because so often, I don't know if you all ever seen the movie Cherokee Kid with Sinbad in it, but there is a scene, and this happens to me as a woman a lot. There's a scene where they're at a table, and Sinbad, who is Cherokee Kid, who's they call him Cherokee Kid in the movie, at the time he didn't have a name, and everyone's sitting around this table trying to come up with his name, I guess what we would consider a stage name, in the music industry, come up with his name. And this is one guy, he's over there, he's like, Cherokee Kid. And everybody's talking all over him, oh, yeah, and talking all over the place, throwing out names. People are like, no, all over the place. Finally, this other guy says, I got it, Cherokee Kid. And they're like, yeah, woo! So every time somebody does that to me, I always say it's a Cherokee Kid moment, because there are times where I'll throw stuff out there in a group of men, and it's not until another man says it that it's like, oh, that's a bright idea. So that, I think, is kind of where she was coming from. Where here she's saying the same thing, but it was kind of like, you weren't hearing her. And that all kind of goes back to the communication thing between men and women. We do communicate differently. And because of that, we have to, and I think this is the same thing they have to do in the workplaces, is have diversity within corporate America. We have to have the same type of mindset. And you might being, former military, you have to be able to diversify your mindset so that way, yes, we can't always be politically correct, but there are things that we have to be mindful of to be able to communicate effectively to all people, all races, all genders. So, but yeah, I think it was a good exchange, and I did catch up to some of the more recent conversation when you were saying that you're glad that this kind of, you don't see this as a negative viewpoint of yourself, which I don't think you should either, because we all have different, thinking, lines of thinking, and it actually gives us an opportunity to help, I guess, buffer each other and help to, grow in this whole industry. So yeah, good stuff.
Thank you. The on the Jason thing, I did that twice. Once with Dave, and once with Lisa. And so, like with me, where I have a problem is, I did it with Dave, where when Jason said, when he started breaking down with Khaliq and Dave were saying, Jason explained, and I was like, oh, okay, I got that. Not a problem. But then when it happened with Lisa, because he put it in terms that I could understand, it has nothing to do with him being a man. But when it happened with Lisa, then all of a sudden, I'm misogynistic. And I'm sitting here, I can't receive that. I can't receive that. And on this video, like I said, it's there for the record. I did that twice. Jason broke it down for me. I understood it. And it was simply the terms he put it in were terms that I actually could feel.
I think in the context of what was going on at the time, though, I think that's kind of where it kind of made that turn for her. Mm-hmm. I can see, like I said, I can see the sequence of events that kind of led to, that kept continuously building up, which was the just from the jump of the conversation. And when you go back and you watch it, you'll probably see, oh, okay, I could have probably did that a little different right there. But I mean, all in all, it wasn't like extremely, it wasn't extremely negative. It was just insightful for probably a lot of people viewing. Maybe some, mostly men who are probably doing the exact same thing, if not worse, and maybe doing it more. Actually, misogynistic men who are watching, who don't even view themselves as that, because I don't believe that you are. I believe that even you wanting me to come on the Hangout, whether that was for eye candy or not, maybe, I know we've mentioned that in the past. I like having females on here. I like, looking at all y'all ugly guys.
And yes, you are eye candy. Yes, not a problem. But I absolutely do like women on here because you bring a different perspective.
And you said that before. And you said that before.
That's the respect that you really meant, and we get that from getting to know you over the course of time. I think we all know that that's really where you were coming from. I really think that we all know that really, even like the Mrs. Hampton exchange was from respect. But I think the whole thing, and Angela, you can chime in on this. I think the whole thing was where it started going left is see, you have to hear her, because y'all got to a point where you weren't hearing each other,
Right.
And yeah, that's where it took that left turn. Is like, I'm gonna make my point because I didn't mean this. Well, I'm gonna make my point because so y'all both kind of dug in. And I like watching some of these relationship shows. Sometimes I get into all that stuff. So because it teaches me that sometimes you have to say, okay, you got to understand what they're saying, and then even repeat it back to them. Okay, what I'm hearing you say is, so that you know that you get what it is. She didn't get you when she got to a certain level, and you didn't get her. And so at a certain point, neither one of y'all just weren't going to hear each other anymore.
And for me, why would this have to be to where I would have to understand her, but she would not have to understand me? Why is it that it would have to be a one-way deal? Hey, person.
No, it's not a one-way deal.
This person, hey, person, you don't.
No, it's not a one-way deal. It would have actually been two-way, but somebody has to start it. That's the only thing. It's not a one-way deal, because if you know anything about Lisa, you know that she's a very strong woman. She's very intelligent, and she's very open to a lot of things. So she's like we are. She's very committed and believes in what she believes in, and she will fight for the right of a situation and call it out, but still be open if there's room to see that, okay, maybe I didn't see that other side of it. So we're all kind of like that. We'll take it in. We'll fight for our positions and all that, and that's okay. I think it's okay to be strong on that, because you don't say something, you don't believe it. But sometimes if we don't communicate it right, staying open and hearing what the other person is say, well, why didn't it arrive at them the way I intended? That is the whole key. And somebody has to start it, because if both people say, well, I ain't going to budge, then it never gets resolved, Y'all really both got to a point where you were not going to hear each other after a certain point. And, her making the statement that I think you're misogynistic and I will never work with you and things like that, that is because it escalated beyond a certain point, because before that, she didn't really know you. But now she feels she knows you from just a surface exchange,
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not those were her true feelings or not, I mean, that's an indicator of how someone else, because she could have just been playing devil's advocate the whole time. We don't know. But the thing is that when you get to that point, I mean, imagine that Lisa was somebody else. What if she was that record executive? What if she's somebody else? It's like that was a real exchange of, like I said, whether or not because sometimes, I know people who, not really myself, but I know people that I know, there are women and men that I know who will argue that type of way just to see where is it you're going to go with it. Where are you going to, how far can they get you to go with it? And will you, if people who are used to debating that's a really good debating tactic to see where are you going to give in a little bit to see, to come to see what she was trying to convey. So like I said, she might not even been, all that exchange could have been more devil's advocate. She might not even think you're misogynistic, but just the thing is that when you trigger something like that, those continual trigger, it's like, it was just like, you know, shots fired, shots fired. Like, it was just continual. Like, I mean, I know that emotional thing. I know you might have, I think you called her out being emotional like maybe 3 times, and it just continued to ignite that flame. And it was like that offense just kept going at it and at it and at it, even though she'd already told you, hey, God, this is an offensive word to me. You're using you're calling me as being emotional. Why can't I just be passionate? You know, and then it's like you said it again, and it was like, okay, so I think.
Hey, and somebody says, "Call me passionate, not emotional." Come on, man, you're not hearing that. You're not. It's like we're playing words now, type of thing, and then after you calm down, you can come back. But in the heat of battle, yeah, I'm not going
to see. That's the thing. It wasn't a battle. See, that's the thing. It wasn't. It got to be a battle, but it wasn't. It didn't start out as a battle. So that's what I think. Because I noticed it too. You know, and Lisa actually did not respond until like she said that like the 3rd time is when it went over. Because when I first heard it the first time, I was like, okay, that one landed. Shots fired, you know, but she'd be like, okay. Then when the 2nd time come, I'll, you know, but we can see it coming.
Time, I was like, oh, she's gonna blow. I'm like, oh no,
yeah. You know, we can see it coming.
But you know, it all comes to, like Khaliq was saying, somebody has to start hearing. Somebody not really hearing, but listening or whatever, both, because they're both 2 different things. And then somebody has to concede, because what's going to happen is just going to continuously go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Whether or not, you know, you all are seeing eye to eye or not. And like I said, this is not just for this exchange, for anything. Like I said, somebody has to concede. And I think what Dave was saying, what Khaliq was saying, and what some other people might be seeing, watching this back, or even the ones that were on the Hangout that dropped out, when everybody else is seeing it, but you, then maybe it's you. So it's like, if everybody's calling you a duck and you like, oh no, I'm a crab. No, you a duck. Like,
hold on.
Right. You know, but no, I mean, I get it. I get I don't believe it should have ever been a one-way exchange of anything. You know, no, there are different viewpoints, and it's just. I think when we're pressing so hard for someone to see or to prove ourselves right, that's when things backfire and things go all haywire. And so yeah, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a bad exchange. Just the initial topic of the usage of the female, which when you asked Dave to beat up on you, I guess you got a different beating than you. All that. A different beating than you.
I was actually wishing that he would, but when Lisa came on and did it, hey, then that's what it is. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, I think even Dave beating up on you or whatever, I think hearing it like Khaliq so eloquently put it from the source, you know, there's a definite need for openness on your part, because at this point it's like, okay, beat me up, Dave. Well, Lisa came in and did it, and at that point, I think you should open to see, okay, this is how a woman, you know, feels about this word, and probably could have ended it at that. You know, like, okay, you know what? I understand. I'm not going to change overnight. I'm going to put a better effort into this. I didn't even look at it that way. It's great hearing it from a woman's perspective. Mm-hmm. And then probably you know,
Lisa made it more real. Lisa made it more real. Period. No, yeah. I don't think it should have went to a different topic. I honestly feel what happened needs to happen actually more. Lisa made it real.
Yeah, she did.
Dave said it months ago, and I blew it off like female. The hell are you talking about, female? How was that offensive? I blew it off. Lisa made it real, and I asked him to beat me up on it because I didn't feel it. It's like, what are you talking about? I can't. Okay, here's a can. I can't say can now. It just didn't feel. And Lisa came on, and you could see it in her.
Yeah.
You can't see that in Dave.
Right. Know? That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, at that point, that should have got the message through. Really, I don't think there should have been any additional, I guess, battle as how you were seeing it. Like, you know, like, it shouldn't have had to be that much, because at that point, she kind of spoke her piece and like, this is how I hear the word. This is what I'm hearing when you say this. You're going to dance. You know, you're bringing some females to dance. I'm hearing hoes. That was her. You know, whether or not that's what was in you or not, that was her interpretation, and that's what you wanted, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's good conversation. It's a good exchange. It wasn't anything like, you know, but like I was saying, it could have been, you know, received a little bit sooner. Sooner is all I'm saying. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was. You know, it's so funny to watch everybody when people dig into their position, you know, and it's so hard, you know. That's why I say you know, just recognize, you know, I mean, when you say I was submitting to, you know, but like I said, be who you are all the time. You know, you are not a submissive person. So you really you were going to submit, but that wasn't the authentic thing because it wasn't about submitting. You're not a submitter type of person. It was about hearing. It was just about hearing her.
I gotta call you on that, Khaliq.
Call me on it, brother. I'll call you right back.
You are absolutely right when you say that is not my nature. So if me and Angela are going back and forth and she says something and I'm digging in, and then I turn and say, whoa, hold on, I got to submit to that because it's the truth. I do that all the time. That's how I change. I wasn't submitting to Lisa as in I'm a submissive person. There was a truth that was there that I was trying to say, hold on, I got to submit to that truth. Not me being disingenuous. I'm not going to get on here and be disingenuous at all.
Okay, well, hold on for a second. Let me ask Angela a real quick question. When Ma'at said to Lisa, basically when he was submitting to her point, I mean, at his core, I believed him. But do you think Lisa received that as a believable thing, or he was just kind of saying anything? And how did it arrive to you? Because it arrived to me.
Look back at it one more time, but I think like again with the conversation going the way it was going and the continual cycle of, you know, or the hit after hit where and it wasn't meant to be hits, but just like those trigger. I think that just kind of like it probably wasn't perceived as being genuine.
Yeah, see, that's the way I felt, to be honest with you, bro. You said it and you can say it, but if it doesn't feel like it's really coming from a genuine place as far as I really want to hear them, not from you just saying, okay, I'm going to give up my position or being submissive. I'm not looking at that word submissive as a bad thing or anything like that. But the thing is when you put that out, it felt like you could feel the resistance, even though it was invisible. It didn't feel genuine, like you really wanted to hear and understand what she was saying.
Well, in a relationship, it's kind of, and for her being in a relationship, it might mean something different for her. And for me, those types of things, like when you're having a heated conversation with your significant other, and you, as the woman, and the man's just like, okay. You know, okay, you're right.
That's not what. Right, so that's not what I do.
But that's what it feels like, yeah.
But it might have felt like that for her. That's all we're saying right there.
Are we watching the same video?
Yeah, we are.
See, when you go back and watch it, you know, you might have a different perspective. When you're in a conversation, a lot of times we don't really hear what we're saying, or we don't really see what's going on until we're like that third party out on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. So
I am on these Hangouts several times submitting to stuff that Khaliq and Dave have said. I'll say something, I'll be like, hold on, I'm wrong. You know, I have to submit to whatever the truth is. And I see where you're saying it might not be received, you know, blah, blah, blah. But when I'm being honest, if I'm being honest and I say something and it's not being perceived, okay, and with me being what everybody says is a weird person, I'll make these statements, I have these weird ways, and it's not being perceived the way I'm doing it, not a problem. But no, I was simply submitting to something that I saw as a truth. And I was like, hey, I can't fight that, you know, and or if I change, if you guys say something, see you later, and I change and I say, hold on, I've changed, and it's not perceived as true, I can't, you know, I can't even deal with that. It's like, hey, truth is truth.
Okay, well, first of all,
believe it, so be it.
But first of all, like I said, none of this is negative. It's all just feedback and everything. Because like Angela was saying, that if one person over here is saying you're a duck, another person saying you're a duck, and then you're believing that no, in my mind I'm a crab. That's a whole different thing. You might want to consider that everybody's seeing you swim in the water and seeing feathers on you. Maybe you got to look at it a little bit differently. It's okay, because like I said, I don't think that I knew when you were trying to de-escalate it and submit to the whole thing. I understand and feel where you were coming from, but see, I could also feel that it wasn't arriving at her that way. That's why I asked Angela. I said, I'm not even going to try to answer this. I said, Angela, when you're checking out the exchange or whatever, did it feel genuine to you? It didn't come across quite the way you wanted it. So it's just an adjustment. It's not saying you were doing anything wrong. It's not saying you have to be disingenuous or anything like that. But all of these things are adjustments in how we approach stuff. Because like she said, that exchange, just as it being Lisa, who's somebody it could have been the head of the biggest record label out here, and then that whole exchange could end up going through a whole industry that you're trying to break into. So it's something to learn from.
We have to allow for change. So if we have a discussion and I find a point where there's something that's said that I change on that point, and I say, hey, I have to submit to that issue, right? That particular thing. Mm-hmm. And then it said, nope. That's garbage to me. Mm-hmm. When you make a point and it's valid and you bring it home and I finally see that specific point and I make the statement, hey, I got to submit to that right there. I get it now. And then it can't be received. It's like, come on, man.
But check it out. You just said it out your mouth, and think about this when I tell you this, because this is the other part that made me come to the conclusion that it wasn't coming from the thing, because you kept having some resistance afterwards, and you used those two words. You said, that's garbage. You said it several times. Did you hear that, Angela? See, so that's what kind of negated all the submissive and all that, because what you're basically saying is that everything you're saying to me is not valid when you say that's garbage. So that was the part that made me feel that it didn't matter if you say I'm submitting to the thing. If y'all keep going and then you say no, I'm submitting to you and I'm saying and that's garbage and I can't do this.
See, Khaliq,
you're dismissing everything else.
What you're saying is not what I was saying. Even now, I was never submitting to her. Ever. I never submitted to her.
No, I don't mean that.
I was trying to say I'm submitting to a specific point, which I never got out.
I understand that, though, bro. See, you're thinking that we're saying submitting to her. I'm not saying that either. We're saying exactly the same thing. But what I'm saying is even when you said submitting to the point, it didn't feel like you were really submitting to the point, because you were putting up an argument of saying that the point was garbage.
If I submit to something and then you come and say something else that I think is garbage, I'm like, hold on, that's garbage. Look, I'm saying this, and what you're saying now, that you come back and say, oh my, you drink green tea. No, I don't, that's garbage. But we're talking about apples right now. Yeah, and then you say, because I said it's garbage, that negates everything. Nah, man. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but see, that's the thing is when she's telling you that my feeling, the way it arrives to me is when you say female as opposed to calling me a woman. When you say Mrs. Hampton as opposed to calling me Lisa, you're diminishing me. And if she's telling you that, and then y'all keep going to saying, well, that wasn't my intention, what you're saying, that's garbage. See, that's dismissing. That's being dismissive of the whole thing, because it doesn't matter what the details of it was. All of it comes under that heading of that. What I'm saying is garbage. When you make a statement like that, it dismisses everything else. So that's why I got that way. So that's why I was saying that when I was listening to the exchange and everything, I heard you, and I honestly believe where you were coming from. I honestly do not believe you were coming from, and even Angela got it too. She said, we don't believe you're misogynistic, but you have things that need to be adjusted. They're habits, It's just like me. I'm not a racist, but I used to call different people things that somebody had to pull my coat and say, man, you don't need to be talking like that, man. It's the wrong way to do that in this situation, especially when people were cool enough to have you in there and all that. So I had to learn and adjust, and that's all it is. It's not trying to make you wrong. It's not trying to make you submissive, trying to make you anything like that. It's just saying you got to add some more stuff to your toolkit on that. That's why you asked Dave to beat you up on that point in the first place. You said
Exactly.
Dave beat me up, and then Dave brought the source, a woman, and then it took a left turn.
And were you about to say something, Angela?
I think I was. I think I agree with what Khaliq was saying. He pretty much hit everything that I think I was gonna hit. Yeah.
What did you think about the "that's garbage" comment? Am I off base with that?
No, you're very spot on with that, actually. Because it just, I think it was what I was gonna add. Was really and back to just what Khaliq was saying and what I said before, is all about perception. And when Khaliq was saying, when she expressed, this is how I feel with this particular, like with the Miss Hampton thing, with the female word, all of that, there was this continual dialogue. Whereas instead of conceding to, okay, that now I understand how a woman feels, you don't have to agree with what she felt, but I think when she expressed herself, and then you came back with the that's garbage, and I have to go back and listen.
I didn't do that, Lisa. I didn't, Angela. I'm sorry. I didn't do that. When her feelings are legit. Period.
Yeah, her feelings were legit. It was whatever she came back and said, and you were like, that's garbage. It was like, that's your terminology, which doesn't necessarily mean exactly the way it was perceived by anybody today. But I do agree with what Khaliq was saying, how it came across, of negating everything, everything that you, up to that, like any sincerity that you had towards anything that she was saying. When you said it, it kind of did negate some of that. So,
but you ain't crying, are you, man? You ain't crying, bro.
Okay, so Angela, here's me. If I call you, what's your last name? I forget.
Lewis.
If I say Mrs. Lewis and you say to me, that's disrespectful, and I'll say to you, okay, well, I meant the utmost respect when I said it. If you turn and say to me, well, you disrespected me. No, I didn't. Now, if you believe I disrespected you from your point, yes, I did. But from my point, no, I was giving you the utmost respect. And if you say you are disrespectful, then I would say that's garbage. And see, that's where we would get into a fight, because I'm over here giving you my utmost respect. Like Mrs. Johnson just walked in. And when you tell me by force, no, that is disrespectful. No, we have two different people, two different cultures, and I need to learn about yours. But just the same way, if you can't come in and realize that when I say that I actually meant something very respectful, yeah, I got a problem with that.
Let me ask you this, Mott, real quick. Have you ever called Lisa?
I haven't really ever spoken to her, and
have you ever called her Lisa?
And I've always spoken about her as Mrs. Chambly, or however you say it, and then Mrs. Hampton. I've always said that because I'm not on a first name basis with her.
So you've never called her Lisa previously?
Oh no, I'm not on a first name basis with her. It would be disrespectful for me to walk up and say, "Hey, Lisa." It would be disrespectful because I don't know her like that. She's an industry professional, kicking butt, whatever, and not somebody that I'm on a familiar basis with. So I say Mrs. Hampton, Mrs. Chambly, anything like that is
okay. All right. Well, reason why I was asking, because it's just like if me and Angela were in a discussion right now, and I've been calling her Angela all along, and suddenly I go to Miss Lewis.
That would hit a nerve. That people have done that to me before, and that does hit a nerve when, just like Jason had mentioned, which was the whole sir. It was like fighting words type of thing when you've been using a first name basis, and then you're like, okay, sir, all right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I didn't do her like that.
Okay.
Right.
That's not what happened.
Okay. No, I was just curious.
that would hit a nerve. If you've been
If I did the switch on, yeah.
At that time, it really wouldn't. It would only hit a nerve if we were having an emotional exchange back and forth, and you said, "All right, Mrs. Lewis." I'd be like, "Oh no, he didn't." Just try to just.
Yeah, because like I said, that's passive aggressive.
Yeah, that would have hit a nerve. But no, I mean, nobody's saying that she didn't do anything wrong in that exchange. Like I was saying, she could have just been playing devil's advocate that whole time. We won't know until she ever gets back on again. She could have been playing devil's advocate that whole time. Some of that could have been all real emotion. It could have been devil's advocate the whole time, just to ruffle feathers. And you know, it could have been. We don't know.
Angela gave a great tip there, because people in the industry will do that. It's like, let me see what this person, how they gonna do. Let me just see what starts coming out of them. Yeah,
Right,
you
I
can
do
have
think all the time.
if you have a debative spirit. There's some people who are true debaters, and they do things like that just to see, just to kind of stir the waters a little bit and see what happens. And so, and like what kind of made me think that is when she kind of leaned over in the screen, was like, "Because you're misogynistic," and she went away. Like, and it could have all been just a toy, and just to kind of just see where is what kind of heat can he withstand with this topic right here, and all of it could have been in fun and games. So I don't know, because I don't know Lisa.
When she did that, I took it as her calling me a name, putting me in a box, and I'm going to defend that. There's no way in hell.
There was fighting words.
And the fight or flight reflex kicks in, and your wall goes up, and that's natural. That's all. That's how every human being reacts. That is not an abnormal reaction to something like that, because it makes your flesh rise. It makes your blood boil. It makes your heart pump when somebody.
Because if anybody sits up and says, "I'm gonna women or put women down, hold women down," oh no, you got to fight, because I do the exact opposite, and I will fight with a woman or anybody else about that.
But now, see, it was good to have this discussion, because now you can see in the discussion with a woman how things stacked up. Started out with the word female, then it stacked up with the word emotional. Then it stacked up with the word Mrs. Hampton. Then it stacked up with a lot of different little stuff. Yeah, garbage. So can you understand?
Yeah, it could have been anybody. Like, I wouldn't, me having a conversation with you, and me knowing you from how long has it been, since February, even though that's a short time, in that short time, and in the Hangouts that I've been on, I know that that's not your personality, and I do believe that you respect me as a professional in the industry. So I don't think I would have, not all of those things would not have triggered a rise out of me, because I feel like at this point, we've been on these Hangouts, and we've come to know more of each other each time. So, but there are some of those things that might have triggered something, depending on what the context of the situation was. So
now, when I trigger you, you've got to be like Ms. Hampton and tell me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you trigger me, I will. I'll say something. Okay. You know, I'm gonna say something. So. But look, so
like Jason put PC over here. Yeah, don't hit me with PC. And you like this live right here. Call me on it, and we deal with it honestly.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. But what I think the most important takeaway. I got you. Hey, the most important takeaway though is that it could have been somebody that you don't know, or even, because I mean, yes, she's Mrs. Hampton. You know of her or whatever, and you might not have ever talked to her personally, but you know of her. But what if it was somebody that you just met? You might not even have that exchange, because we might not have been in this open forum like this to feel the need to have an exchange. But if somebody came at you and called you misogynistic, how are you going to respond? How are you going to counter that in a way that gets your point across, but it does not diminish the other person? So I think those are the takeaways, not just for you, but for everybody. Everybody watching this back. But
this is actually a business lesson today. This is a music industry business lesson, which is really good.
Yeah, I mean,
as a business lesson, somebody walks up to you, Khaliq, and says, "You're misogynistic." Mm-hmm. Now what?
Oh, if they walk up to me, well, the first thing, that I do within all these situations is I listen and try to understand. Like I said, I try to follow what I'm seeing the masters do. Understand why did they say that? Because somebody could be trying to trigger me to say something stupid or act stupid, and I'm not stupid. So the first thing I'm gonna do is assess and understand the situation and know where it came from, and then the next thing is I'm gonna control it. I'm gonna take control,
And
because
yeah,
I
and the
don't
best,
like being controlled.
I think that's the best way to do it is take control and then take not really say take responsibility, but I guess the best way to handle some of these situations, and this is what I tell even guys, like just talking to other guys, is like putting it off on you. What is it that I did to make you feel that I'm misogynistic? Oh, okay. Well, this is what I felt like you said. This is that other. How can I change? Okay, then you do almost a internal self-assessment. Okay, what can I do? Make this different, whatever. But I think when people, and this is women, men, whoever, when you're communicating with each other, it's just not using those, because of you and you people, all those types of things. Those are such trigger words for people, and if you take it onto yourself and you say, like I said, what is it that I could do better? How can I make you feel? How can I make you feel that I'm sincere? What is it that I need to do to get my point across? What is it that's going on right now that I can change about me? Those types of things, I think, can make communication as a whole better. Yeah. And I think, I've been trying to do a lot of that myself. Even when I talk to my own husband, when I talk to people in the industry, is when I had to talk back and forth to professors, not putting it off on a professor. Like I just had a conversation with a student that's in school right now who's having a problem with a professor that I had previously, and I was like, okay, well, this is how I would approach the email. I would say, I am not understanding how I received this grade. What is it that I need to do to increase my grade, blah, blah, blah. Not saying you graded this wrong. What is it? Why did you give me this grade? Those are all kinds of things that you can, if you change and you bring it to I, it sounds less threatening. It sounds just like you're more considerate, because you're not pointing blame at anybody. And I think that's the thing, is when we start playing those blame games back and forth with each other, then you get rise. Next thing you know, it's just some huge explosion, and it's huge forest fire somebody's trying to put out with a water hose.
And something is interesting on that with like scenarios like that. One of the things that I'm sure you can appreciate that is, a lot of times when we learn how to fight or defend or whatever, and I know when I used to take martial arts, for example, learning it first, you learned how to block and stuff like that. But later on, you start realizing that as you get older and you start learning that you don't block, you either redirect or attack. Because blocking is inefficient. Every time somebody throws a jab and you go to block what they jab, and that's an efficient thing where you could have been striking in that same move. So it's the same thing in life. If somebody comes and says, "Khaliq, you're misogynistic," I'm not. I'm not gonna try to worry about blocking all this stuff. I'm gonna go right in, like I said, and control the situation. Whatever I instantly have to assess to do it, and it doesn't have to be an attack or aggressive, because it might not be coming at me from an attack thing. It might be coming from an ignorance thing. It might be coming from a thing where maybe I said something, even though I'm not misogynistic. Maybe I validly said something that arrived at somebody that was misogynistic, which I have done. All of us men sometimes can get full of ourselves as men, and sometimes, our testosterone will take over, and we may, not give the woman equal footing in the room when they deserve it. We're all on the equal level. But I have to admit, my natural, primal thing will kick in every now and then, and, think that, the man has that thing where I think I know better. So I have to always control that. I learned it from my mom, though, because she said, see what you're doing here, and here's what's going to get you in trouble. So you need to pay attention, because you're only doing it because you ain't paying attention. So that's the whole thing. If we pay attention and it becomes more important to us, we'll get in less things. We'll be able to control it. And those times when somebody is actually attacking, rather than trying to block and deflect and keep moving back, to move in to the eye of the storm where there's going to be less. There's going to be less turbulence.
And sis, any more for me?
I mean, this is good stuff. I mean, I wish I could bring every guy that I know on this thing right now, because this so needs to be said. Some of this really needs to be said, I think. No, I mean, I don't really have anything else. I think you do a good job on, everything that I've pretty much, any encounter I've had with you. So I don't think that, I think you might have some misogynistic tendencies. But it's not. But I don't believe that you're misogynistic, and I think that's every man. Everybody has a little bit of sexism in them, whether you're man or woman. There are some things about men, the perceptions that I might have that are maybe I feel like are across the board, and they might not always be. There's always an exception to every rule. So I think I think all of us can learn from this conversation, not just gender related, but just in everyday communication.
Yeah. I can tell you that many of us are oblivious to this right here. Like certain things, like I would have to go now and ask about keywords that'll trigger women, because I probably have 30 of them and am totally oblivious to them.
Absolutely.
And I like the guys around here that I know that this is not stuff that, like what's being said today, I'd get blank stares. Like, what are you talking about?
Let me give you one. Let me give you another one. And I'm gonna run into a lot of this when I move, because I'll be around more studios. And because right here I'm kind of isolated in Lawton, Oklahoma, so I don't really have to deal. I don't really have to deal with anybody outside of my home, really. But I know that even the dealings I've had on the internet or people I've met through school, mostly guys, there is this thing where women are called baby. Baby this. Hey baby. Hey baby. Even a married woman such as myself, called baby, or sweetie,
sweetie, sweetheart,
sweetheart. I'm like, I am a woman. I am Angela, or you can call me Angela. I don't respond to honey, sweetheart, baby. And then it's like I have to make sure at the same time I don't come off as the other B word, because I'm trying to be, still trying to be a professional in the industry, but I still want to be respected. So I don't want to, at the same time, I don't want to blackball myself because everything I hear is a trigger word, but at the same time I don't want to diminish myself because I accept people calling me outside of my name, which or treating me like any other female they encounter. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I do want to be able to go into a studio and not feel like I have to hug the engineer or hug the producer just because I'm female, because I'm a woman, just because I have tatas, so it's like, just because I'm baby all of a sudden, I'm baby. And that's something I don't really know. I think it's, some of that's cultural. This one guy brought it to me. He's like, well, don't get offended because I call you baby. That's how I talk to all the girls. Well, now you want me to not get offended because you call me baby because that's how you talk to all the girls, but I'm telling you, it offends me. So stop. It's stop. It's like, if somebody else enjoys that, then let them enjoy that, but for me, don't do it. So I'm gonna run into more of that in this coming year whenever I do finally get these orders to move to Florida, because I will be working with producers and men on an everyday basis. It's going to be it'll probably be perceived as me being stuck up or rude or whatever at first, but I have to find a way to intelligently tell them that, first of all, I'm a married woman. Even if I wasn't married, it's not really appropriate to call every woman baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, matter of fact, I got some of the guys that do it are married men. How do you think your wife is gonna feel if she comes in and you call me baby?
Right.
That doesn't sound right. You know, there's just some things that you have to kind of adjust. And I think that as someone who is not just a singer, not just a songwriter, not knocking anybody who's just a singer songwriter, so don't take it as such. But I'm more than that. I produce. I compose cinematic scores and stuff like that. So there's going to be a wide variety of people that I'm going to encounter. Unfortunately, the ones who do it, who say baby, are not my white brothers. they're my black brothers. You know, they're those guys. They're the ones that want to say, hey baby, they want to hug, they want to do everything, you know, like I'm just this chick at the club. No, I am a woman who works in the industry, and I want to be respected as woman, not as just some chick off the street. So I think that is where the female stuff that's kind of like almost the foundation for those other words that are going to be said. You know, baby, sweetheart, hun, those other things. If we allow female, then we allow those other things to continue, and then we're just continuously diminishing our quality and our self value in the industry.
Well, and the thing too, Angela, is that's the one word that is not objectifying women. The rest of them, I mean, I remember back at when was it, like the 90s or 2000s, women used to be called, you know, and I'm not trying to offend anybody either, but this was it, and I really didn't like it and didn't get it. Women used to be called chickens, was it?
Chicken heads.
See, all that. I mean, so these are all objectifying terms that, you know, but they come and go. A woman's always going to be a woman, and that to me is the elevated term. So you're going to be safe to be there. You know, everything else is trying to diminish. You know?
Right. A woman or lady. Those two are,
yeah. And take this for example too, like you were saying, you might have to change your perception, and you probably got a bunch of words in there. Now, do you remember we had the call with Anna Rams? You brought her on there, and then we were talking about her name, and right away, because to me it arrived at, you know, Anna Rams, she busts down barriers, rams and everything. You said that wasn't even how I was thinking. I was thinking more like, you know, get you know.
That's why I did not want her to have that name, because I knew other people would perceive that also.
But the thing is it's all in. See, it's all in how you command it, because you went there and put it on a negative connotation, but she in her mind said, well, I would look at it more like, I like the other one where I'm busting down barriers and everything. And what I like that Angela does right now is Angela's saying, see, more women are doing this. They're demanding the respect. You can't just be calling me baby and honey and everything. I'm a married woman, so I don't know you. You don't get that. You don't get that privilege to just be a blanket doing that. I don't care what you do with everybody else. With me, you're going to change your behavior, because I demand respect. I demand that you look at me and perceive me higher than that when I enter the room. You know, no. So that's and more women are doing it. I applaud that, and we as men have to also automatically give them that. And then, you know, it's just like how we do as men. I feel that, you know, I automatically give people respect until they show that they don't deserve it, you know. But I think everybody deserves respect off the bat, whether I know you or not. You automatically deserve to be respected until you show me different, you know. So these are the little things that we have to go through in our processing, because things are changing very, very dramatically right now. So to me, it's like, you know, the power of everybody. You know, it's the same thing like me. I had to change my perception based completely different than, say, a couple of generations before me, because it used to be, you know, if you were older than a younger person, you automatically got the respect just because you were older. And I don't believe that, you know, and I don't believe young people believe that now. It's like you still got to earn respect, because there's some old fools out here too, you know. So, you know, that's where I'm always at. I don't care if somebody's younger than me. I don't care if they're older than me or whatever. I'm always going to be looking to readjust my thinking on it and not just take it for granted. And I'm going to command respect, and I'm going to give respect you know, whether it's male or female to use those words, whether it's man or woman to use that word, whether it's child or adult to use those words. Everybody deserves it, you know. So yeah, and look like Dave got back here. Dave, did you want to say anything else? Because I think we're gonna wrap it up. Dave,
no, man. I just got back. I was just listening. I'm just listening.
This was interesting.
Yeah, I missed the last part. I have to catch it on the rebroadcast. But everything cool?
Yeah, everything is cool.
Yeah, okay.
Angela had some great insights as well, and it was really cool and helpful. And the main thing is that, you know, we didn't intend for this to be there, so we'll do it on the next Hangout where we talk more about the actual Pensado Awards. But this one, like I was saying, this was really a business. This was a business hangout this time because this is about.
You know what? There ain't a Pensado award for reality.
How about that? Yeah, there should be over there. Yeah, we got to tell Dave and Herb.
Got to tell Dave and Herb they got to get with reality.
He got a whole new trophy to come up with because that's what this is, and a lot of people miss this. Angela dropped in a whole lot of great stuff from her perception because she came in late. She didn't catch it in real time, so she went back and checked some things, and she took some notes and made some real salient points about all the things we were hitting. And Ma'at too, the same thing. Like I said, I commend him because after things, you know, calmed down a little bit and everything, his mind is open to more of what was happening. When you're in the moment, it's a little harder, and sometimes you can't see it, and then you feel like you gotta go into the, you know, the fight or flight thing, you know, and we ain't got nothing but fighters on here. So the thing is now though, like I said, we're learning tools. All of us are learning tools, and we're reaffirming the tools. You know, I told them some of the things where I got corrected very quickly on certain things, and I think it's all been helpful, man.
Yeah.
And Dave, thank you. Lisa, if you're there, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was actually very good, very insightful.
It's our version of making the vocalist cry, man. You're just the vocalist.
I'm not gonna cry too much. No.
I called him earlier. He was I was like, "Man, you crying?"
Yeah,
he kind of did a little.
I saw him rubbing his forehead, sweating. I'm like,
sweating. See, Mott on the hot seat, boy.
Yeah, he teared up a little bit there.
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. It's somebody like Lisa. You go there on her, she'll go industry on you, and that's it. That's it, man. You hearing it from the front lines. She's just say, "Hey, we ain't doing business with you," and that's how it is, man. So you know,
not a problem.
People need to see that though. People need to see all of it. You know?
Exactly.
And this is reality TV, y'all. This is better than the Real Housewives of Atlanta. All that. Better than Basketball Wives, all that stuff. Better than the UFC, anything you want to think of. I love it. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up then. If anybody has any final things, get it in now, and we're going to head out and catch you on the next one. Next time, I promise you guys we'll talk and play some music, some actual music.
Nope,
that sounds good to me, guys. Really. I think you just carry yourself the way you have been on this chat, and you're going to get all the respect that you're going to need when you're in Florida.
I appreciate
that. Present yourself as a professional, and
absolutely.
If you keep doing that, then people are going to see you that way. And I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Absolutely, and you're leading the charge for anybody else, you know, because you're doing it right, and so that's great. And if you want to send anybody to this hangout in particular to watch this one to gather some things, feel free, Angela, because you really helped a lot. Everybody helped a lot. We all chipped in, and I think this needed to be heard.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was good conversation. Thank you, Joseph, for those comments, and Khaliq, and Mott, Dave, Lisa. Good stuff.
Hey, Angela, in fact, I want to do one specifically with you, and maybe we can get Lisa on and a couple other folks. We need to dig into this one deeper. So, you know, not the mod part. I'm just talking about I'm just talking about in general that whole subject and deeper from your point of view. I think it'll be real helpful. Are you down?
Absolutely should.
I'm down.
Because, I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead.
I was saying I'm down. Let's just let me know when.
Okay.
You absolutely should, because I am telling you, people are oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, when Dave was saying that, there's nothing in me that registered that it was that serious.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And if it's not in me, trust me, it's not in a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Just totally oblivious to it. And yeah, it should be brought to light.
Well, good for you for being open, man. So yeah, we're definitely gonna hit that. We're gonna hit that one real soon. I think that's a great one that's needed. All right, folks. Well, I will check y'all out. Great conversation. We'll catch you later. I want to say, what's up, Bill? Man, we'll catch you on the next one too. And you know, don't roll on the ground too hard. I know Bill's gonna be cracking up. All right, so catch you guys later, man.
Thank you, Khaliq and Joseph.
All right.
All right.
Bye, man.
Later, guys.
All right.
Bye, Angela.